And now we can officially get started. So game one of this best of three. Winner goes to the grand finals, loser to the lower bracket. So everybody's got one life to live, Cinderin, YOLO. Well, two in this case. Two. All right, yeah, okay. I corrected myself before you corrected me.
So Yolt.
Cinderin, that's right, very, very catchy. So Spirit versus Tundra. We've seen these teams face off against each other many a time. There's always something weird that happens, it feels like.
Yeah.
Will we be seeing anything weird today?
Well, I wonder if it's a bad omen that we have the... Oh, hang on. We actually might have... I think he'll get away. All right. You know, we had the pregame interview with the two captains standing up there, and the first thing 33 said was, let's have no pauses, and then the game starts with a pause. So
that's right.
Maybe that's a good omen, maybe it's a bad omen for what's to come, but I want to mainly focus on the Luna pick here, because this is a hero that, as the panel talked about, it's been picked 3 times, it's 1 and 2. Considering the narrative of Spirit and what they've talked about in their own interviews, that they feel like they have an infinitely deep hero pool in this patch and they can play almost everything, I'm curious to see how this hero really fits into the strategy overall, because this was not an obvious pick, I think, for Tundra either. I wouldn't even think it was one of the 5 heroes they were considering in this spot, so I want to see Radon convince us that this was the right choice.
As the Bounty Rune battles begin, Miposhka in a lot of trouble. Blood Grenade will slow him. He will go down eventually. Nightmare slows it a bit, but first blood for 33. And this is a hero we've seen at times. If it gets off to a good start, he just dominates the map, becomes impossible to kill.
Yeah, what a dream, because most of the games we've cast of 33, he loses his lane on Sand King. Because it's not a particularly strong laner, and I think this lane matchup into Luna Bane should in theory be very difficult, but having that benefit of the first blood will be very helpful. Now that said, most of the Sand King games we've cast of his, he's running it with a Caudal 4, and that will not be the case this time. So it remains to be seen if Soxa can find the same amount of stacking efficiency for the Sandstorm farming and then take the lane, or if it will be a little bit more difficult for the Wind Ranger than the Keeper. As for the time being, he's trying to cut the wave here, which is an interesting situation down bottom, because Bane notorious for being really good at dealing with this with Nightmare, but Soxa found a way of threading the needle there with the Boots of Speed starting on him. You could tell this was his mindset from the very get-go.
He does get Nightmared, so we'll disrupt it a bit.
He did the job, though.
Yeah, job is done.
Lane is already disrupted here.
Collapse getting harassed to a very low amount of HP right now in this lane. Still level 1 on that Darkseer. I want to talk about Luna. Yatoro playing Luna, not the hero that we see a ton these days. What's the reason for it?
Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, great. Nice having you here.
So here's the thing, right, is when you're looking at Darkseer lineups, a lot of the time you play melee carry for obvious reasons, right? You vacuum people together, you get some sort of cleave hero or some sort of in-your-face type hero. Some of those were available, but maybe you're just hesitant to pick them into AA because they like running Satanic as a key item on those heroes. Perhaps the logic here for Spirit is, well, we're playing against the AA, having a hero that has an inherent way of taking massively reduced damage through the Moon Shield, which is 30% on level 4.
Yeah.
Perhaps you can just flat out outlive the Ice Blast, and that's the rationale here. Because, let's be honest, no single carry in Dota is good against AA in this patch, right? It just feels like everybody hates that matchup.
Very true.
But maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if the Luna pays off, but I'm with you. That's the biggest question mark of the draft, because every other hero here has been played quite a bit at this tournament, except Bane. But that one's a little more obvious for Miposhka to choose to run.
And I think the support duo for Tundra, kind of interesting with the AA. We talked about percentage-based damage and the threshold being killed, but the threshold with kill shot on the Windrunner. Wonder how that works exactly, how potent it can be. I mean, that obviously dissuades you from picking these tankier heroes.
Yeah, I wonder how the math works with the...
Yeah, we don't want to get into that discussion.
Damage reduction.
You're going to go off on some tangent?
No, okay. It's fine.
But early on
Back
in
to
that... thank you. Really appreciate that. In the mid lane, of course, Laurel, 15-2 on the Ember Spirit, while BZM's Kunkka, 18-4, so slight advantage for the Tundra side.
Quite good start for Ember. This is not that easy of a lane matchup against Kunkka. It should get exponentially harder as Kunkka hits level 5. So if you can at least more or less break even up until that point for Laurel, that's pretty good.
Yep. And BZM I mean, we've seen the mid-Kunkka time and time. It feels like it does fit more as a 3 in a lot of lineups, but when 33 goes ham on a Sand King type hero, then it does fit the bill with what Tundra usually want to go with.
Yeah, it seems the way they organize this type of strategy that they've played a couple of times here with these two heroes together. The logic is Sand King can both go a tanky route and an offensive route. We've seen him run Pipe Crimson in one game, and we've seen him rush Dagger in another. As BZM will ensure himself the water in here with a nice X-Mark play. Miposhka really trying to box him out, though.
Yep, he's got that sleep talent. Brings him back into the arms of Laurel. Power shot. We'll be clipping a couple of heroes to slow them down, as BZM will eventually go down the same route he was originally going down. They'll take a sleight of fist here in return.
Did not look like they intended to pull him to the low ground with the Nightmare. I think that's why he tipped him as well. Let the Nightmare run a little bit too long. Oh, I haven't talked too much about Collapse. He is kind of struggling. I think among all the cores in this game, the Darks are easily having the worst start. Gyro AA, a very formidable lane against something like Darkseer Tiny unless a rotation comes through, so it is to be expected that they lose. But it is, of course, a great start overall for Tundra just in raw laning. All three cores are doing very, very well for themselves. And it doesn't really come at the expense of any of the supports either, so just very stable.
Yep, from the carry side, Yatoro leading the way at the moment, but 33 in that offlane. We talked about it. He's going to get the Burrow Strike with the Sandstorm here, applying some good damage to Yatoro. But really, 33 just farming away his heart's content. Miposhka will come from the north. And we can talk about the Bane a bit, I guess. I mean, this is also a hero that feels like hasn't been seeing a ton of play.
Yeah, interesting detail here on Yatoro's part on the Luna. When he was level 4, his skill build was 2-0-0, so he was holding 2 skill points. And now on level 5, he's put 1 point into Moonclaves and holding another
He's dead to the hand of Whitemar, who gets a double kill, in fact. I mean, it felt like only a matter of time. Gyro pretty fearsome in lane, but Whitemar getting the double kill. A little bit surprised.
Yeah, I guess AA not necessarily the best hero to rack up early kills on. There are other supports that really benefit a ton from the gold, but it's still, perhaps this could be the type of game where you could go Blink Dagger on AA if you have a good start, so you can just flat out land those ults every time on a Blink Burrow Strike, for example. But more than likely, you'll just do default stuff and rely on the X-Mark.
See the first ghost ship of the game. Toss does slow him down a bit onto BZM, but this will lead to a kill on Daru eventually. So 4-0 start for Tundra. Already a 2K net worth lead, only at 6 minutes. Not the greatest start for Spirit. Yatoro the one that is definitely farming to match the opposing carry, but nobody else from Spirit's side really reciprocating.
I think the biggest concern overall for Spirit is that in most of the games they've had, Collapse is having a very good laning stage and kind of snowballing the game. It's pretty rare that we see him play this far from behind. Now, Darkseer can make big plays by playing off of teammates, specifically with level 4 Ion Shell and maybe hitting a half-decent back wall combo. But there's not great wall illusions either, and I feel like the wall is just going to get killed. It's going to die in some sort of sandstorm to a flak cannon. So this, to me, is not exactly the best Darkseer game offensively. It's good for the teammates to carry the shell, and that effectively means that at this point, as far as I'm concerned, Collapse is very much dependent on his Ember to bring him into the game.
Right.
So you got to find those moments of opportunity while your carry is a Luna. That's still the wild card for me. Like, when does Luna really pop off? When do we join fights? It used to be more obvious a couple of, let's say, half a year ago when Luna was more popular. The way you were itemizing, the way the talents and facets worked. Now it's a little bit uncertain here.
It's a moment where if you're collapsing, man, I wish the Luna was on the other team. That is crazy late game.
That would have been a good wall illusion.
Maybe in another tournament where you can pick enemy heroes. How about that?
Yeah, reverse captain's mode.
That's right.
Actually had that.
Not on a true pro level, though, I don't feel like.
That's true. It made for some
you were probably participating in it, right?
Largely for some very boring games, because the teams would just pick each other lineups that had zero synergy and couldn't make any moves.
These days, it's a lot harder to actually work.
That's a fair point. I actually think reverse team will be way more interesting now than
Miposhka stealing some nice
ago.
XP. What a leech. Level 5 now. And with Laurel, might be able to go on top of 33. He's going to use his epicenter on top of Miposhka. Has some reinforcements on the way. Not enough to kill off the Bane, but BZM is coming to try to save the day. They're going to dust 33. Laurel extremely low, uses the remnants. They've already lost Miposhka, though, and 33 will live through the day. did require a lot of heroes to come from the Tundra side.
Well worth it, though. They protect their stacks. They have the luxury right now of leaving the gyro alone in the top lane. He's even just going to transition a little bit into some jungle stacks here. So far, pretty much a flawless game from Tundra. All the lanes have worked out. They're building up nicely. And this is where it becomes really telling how you itemize on a hero like Sand King. I think this is a great way of reading Tundra's overall impression of the game state. The fact that 33 is rushing Bloodstone in this game over something like the Blink or the Pipe, or Crimson. I suppose you're against Luna, Ember, and the Wall. I think technically this could be an amazing Crimson game. So if he's running Bloodstone, he feels like he can carry this game.
Yep, absolutely. Can't really blame him. He is very high net worth right now. Using Whitemon will force out Laurel. Yeah, I mean, we've seen him. He feels like he has a different build every game, but when he's having a free game, essentially, which I would consider this to be close to that, Bloodstone is typically the item of choice. But yeah, it does feel like you'll need a Pipe this game, along with the Crimson. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting because we cast the game where he went Pipe Crimson against Tidebound, and Tidebound just didn't have damage.
Shackle, not going to hit. There's Radon, though. X into boat. AA Blast is coming as well. Yatoro dead. BZM gets credit for that one. So nice pick off for Tundra, as it feels like nothing really going Spirit's way. Yatoro does have good farm, but they don't have much else to write home about at the moment. Laurel, well, that's something to write home about, I suppose. Arcane Rune on the Ember, very fearsome. Stop the Searing Chains. On to Whitemon, still looking for their first kill of the game. Avalanche is there, but the Shackle from Stocks into the power shot, into the Torrent. Do they have the damage to take out the Ember? Actually comes back in, and now he's going to get X'd again, as Collapse waiting by his Remnant to help him out. Looks like the Surge is not enough, as BZM gets a huge cleave. 7-0 start for Tundra, make it 8. Just getting destroyed in this early game, our Spirit, and Collapse. Well, you got an X marks the spot in 5 seconds for BZM. Just needs to stay close. No, he gets vacuumed onto this little baby cliff, but the X has the range. AA Blast coming. Down goes another member of Spirit. 9-0 for Tundra.
Uh-oh. You saw the tip from BZM onto Laurel. Very well understood that Laurel just flat out messed up in that situation and jumped to the wrong Remnant. I guess Laurel, in his mind, just only had the one Remnant behind himself and forgot he placed an offensive one or something, jumped into it, and he was totally out of position, and that was just an easy and quick punish for Tundra. And it gets even worse, because then they try to save and help Laurel and end up bleeding out 3 kills instead of just the singular one. So yeah, this is definitely the makings of a very one-sided game for the time being. 0 kills, as you mentioned, for Spirit, and a lineup that, you know, when you're playing these Darkseer lineups with melee heroes, you're usually the ones running at people right now, trying to fight, and they're kind of unable to really open up anything for the time being. So the question is, when do you get there? It gets incrementally harder now that Kunkka has a Blade Mail. The Sand King is starting to get tanky because the Bloodstone's coming in 2 minutes. The amount of good targets are, it's dwindling by the minute.
And Poshka still not level 6, so Bean's good, not at the ready. Gets a Nightmare off, though.
Just got 6 now.
See Radon on his way over. There's the grip into the Eclipse, and that is a big kill for Spirit. It is their first kill of the game.
You could tell there was a decent chunk of the audience that had been waiting to cheer for something for Spirit. Yes. They got extremely excited for 1 kill because finally something good happened. I mean, there's for all the Spirit fans out there.
There's one team that you go against if you have a massive lead, you still don't let up, and that is that is Spirit.
Yeah, that is.
They are crazy comeback. Crazy comeback.
That's right. Spirit has had a lot of magical turnarounds in the history of this game.
Get the Searing Chains into the Avatar, so a second kill going their way. And now the Tier 1 tower. I don't know if Tundra want to even bother defending this. They do fortify it.
I definitely think they could if they want to. I think if Sand King TP's in and has Sandstorm ready and you have
He's 50 gold from Bloodstone, so maybe don't risk it.
This would be a...
Oh, there we go.
I definitely think if you're in Tundra's shoes here, you give up 0 additional towers now. You lost your mid tower. No reason to give them your safe lane tower here. And yeah, BZM will be the first point of contact with his Blade Mail, and he's got good backup sitting behind him. Spirit make the read and don't even consider this. They actually get the hell out of there. Going to gate out here with Miposhka. Rue will show himself on the wave, though. It's going to be pinged out by Whitemon, but not really in range to get an X just yet.
Now we have a smoke from Tundra, so this is the timing. 14-minute Wisdom Rune, or Wisdom Shrine about to pop, and then the
they're going to get
after Rue. Yep, spotted X into everything that Tundra has to offer, essentially. Easy pickoff. BZN gets credit for that one, and let's see if they go straight down this path to the Wisdom Shrine. Yataro's going to put his body on the line here.
Theoretically, this is the type of position that Spirit's lineup could be good at fighting, with Vacuum Wall, with Eclipse, and the fact that there's no Ghost Ship, but the heroes just aren't in range. They can't really connect over there. Miposhka trying for a cute play here. It's not going to be successful. The question is if he's going to live. He is also not going to live.
Yep. That is a good attempt from Miposhka. Nice. Yeah, the Nightmare is a crazy one if you're alone, and he was not alone. So both Wisdoms go to Tundra, which is just adding insult to injury, and now we have to worry about that Tormentor timing as well. And for Spirit, I mean, what kind of power spikes are we looking for on their side?
I imagine Luna BKB has to be big, right?
Yeah, so
need a way
Manta's on the way for him now.
Yeah. I still think with this item, he kind of can't fight, right?
Yeah, I don't.
It's really difficult. Okay, that's an oversimplified way of looking at it. If you want to fight, you can't be the first point of contact. You need Ember to get in. You need him to get hit by some spells or whatever, so you get a chance to follow up, essentially. That's where Rue's Blink Dagger could play a very big role for Team Spirit. I think they would be wise to potentially give him a little bit of space in mid or whatever he needs. But his TP's on cooldown, so it will be Miposhka grabbing that for the time being. But yeah, get Tiny his dagger, close in on Luna's BKB, and perhaps you have a little moment of opportunity. Also, Collapse is close to Pike. Could be a big help, but for now, Tundra well ahead, and they will grab the Tormentor with no contention here. Let's see who gets the shard. It will be Soxa.
Gale Force.
One of my favorite shards in the game. I think this one's incredibly good. It's also a pretty good game for it, right? It kind of counteracts a lot of what Ember and Darkseer, Tiny, these kind of heroes that want to run in.
Yep.
Kind of just wall them off. Just make sure you don't combo break your AA ult.
True. There is some counter synergy. We actually saw some yesterday, in fact. But in a game that it was already decided at that point, so not the biggest impact. You're going to see a smoke now from Tundra, 5k lead. And they would love to get a pick off into Roche, I would assume. Don't have the craziest Roche team. Laurel. Oh, he gets up the steering chains. Oh, Burrow Strike just misses. Torrent as well.
Damn.
Laurel playing with fire there, and
the right hero to do it on.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of the power runes despite not having as much map control as Tundra.
Yeah.
But credit to him for that. Has the damage rune now. Miposhka in the tree line. Try to be leeching some more stacks here, I suppose.
Yeah, usually Bane hates game states like this. This is a hero that tries to set up in side lanes for ganks, and either you do clutch Nightmare saves on teammates or you do pickoffs on the sides, but again, given the game state, it's hard for Miposhka to find an obvious angle, so he's just getting, you know...
The courier may have spotted him there.
He is very dead.
And the tree line, Gale Force into Burrow, into every stunt. He stays a little bit healthy thanks to the Essence Ring, or whatever the hell it's called.
Actually
staying alive with the Lotus. Okay, Burrow Strike, so it takes a little longer, but same result.
Probably worth saving that Lotus instead. Could come in handy later, but he was hoping to sneak his way out of that. Not going to happen, though. 33 is stupid.
Laurel setting up a nice Avatos for Rue, as Whitemon will be taken out. That is definitely one hero that you can burst down at this stage of the game.
Yeah. First death of the game for Whitemon, who's 3-0-7. So a nice pick. Does give some bonus gold with the streak over to Radon.
Tundra going through the gate. Ooh, a little bit late there for Laurel. But the BKB now online.
This is a bigger one, though.
He's gonna get ripped into the Eclipse as Collapse is there for support as well. Big kill for Spirit. And that is the second death for Chris. I haven't really seen too much of him outside the laning stage, but yeah, getting picked off twice to the Fiend's Grip so far.
And I have to say, a little bit of an uncharacteristic death. Usually at this time during nighttime, the middle of the map where he was farming is just off limits.
Yeah.
This is not where your carry goes. The carry plays the side parts of the map. It maybe plays the triangle. But yeah, going straight to middle, that's going to be an immediate punish from Spirit. And it's big, because this game, as we talked about, they were starting to fall behind quite significantly, but they've stabilized the mid game quite well. And now with these 2 deaths on Gyro, Luna is going to be a full item ahead. She's up 3,000 gold against Gyro as Luna, which is kind of crazy. So Radon will now be picking up that BKB. We talked about this will be an important item. Is it possible that this whole Spirit lineup just comes together in 10 minutes and just overwhelms them?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the lead has grown for Tundra at all, right? And Yatoro, like you said, leading the way in terms of farm. And for Crystallis, he has the Crystallis along with the BKB, but the Aghanim Scepter is really where his farm starts to take off. So delaying it for his 3rd item is Laurel spotted here. Atos. I think I'm going to fully commit to this, but Push gets taken out on the other side of the map, and yeah, too much HP for Laurel here.
But yeah, it's a good point about the Gyro. The fact that he goes BKB here instead of Ags first means...
Oh, double burrow strike from 33, but the Avatos on Rue gets on onto White Man, separating the fight completely. Big sleight of fist onto 3 heroes. Call down as well, but a vacuum onto the cliff. Can they get out of here? Luckily, they have power shot from Stoxa. As the burrow strike coming from 33 onto the high ground again. A lot of damage being applied to Laurel right now. He is dead. First casualty that actually matters in terms of the core heroes. Rue will follow suit to the grave. Crystallis already with the BKB. So 2 for 1. Advantage Tundra.
Yeah, Radon just not involved. If he's there on the Luna, this is a different fight if he pops off everything. But Tundra find a little moment of opportunity to get a couple kills. The Laurel one with the bigger one.
Is under attack.
But yeah, it's curious to see Crystallis go for the BKB before Ags, because you felt like with the game state Tundra had, you might just try to, you know, greed it up and go for both farming items first. We've seen other Gyros in this tournament do that, but he opted for the BKB, which generally signals, all right, we want to fight, we want to get Roche. But they haven't quite found that dream BKB fight just yet. He did use it for the first time there, and it was an okay outcome, but didn't feel like he got that like big win. Specifically because Radon was not casualty.
So Laurel, you tell me, is this a normal item on Ember, the SNY? I mean, he's going for the status resist for the AA specifically, I assume.
It's pretty standard. It's a good item this game as well. It's not just the AA.
It doesn't matter how often they nerf SNY, it just picked on the
if you think about it, you nerf this item, but it's kind of like the only valid source of status resistance, right?
Yeah,
so
you don't really have
that is just a strong mechanic. If you don't feel... I guess the real question is, why are you opting for this over BKB, right? Because you've seen Radon go for it on the Luna. I think you kind of have to. Ember has the choice, but I wonder what it would have taken to push Laurel into a BKB instead. If this lineup isn't enough to do it, like what's it gonna take before you buy BKB over it? Perhaps also slightly relying on Mipushka clutching out with some Nightmare. You know, that's also a little bit like a pseudo save, if you will.
Yep, true. And into the gate, Spirit goes. Both sides smoked. We find any connection. Laurel, or Collapse, I should say, in the mid lane shows himself. The tier 1 tower is still very healthy for Spirit, despite being down a significant amount.
It's probably not going to be healthy for much longer here. If this smoke move fails, they might just push the tower. We'll see, though.
Gonna go to the enemy triangle is Collapse.
Did they catch a glimmer of him there?
I don't. Possibly.
Dire's top tower.
No, they will soon.
Now they did.
There it is. There's the burrow. AA Blast being used as well. That is a dead Collapse, but we have the Eclipse onto Whitemon. Takes up a decent amount of the Lucent Beams as Radon. He's going to be caught off guard. Potentially, they get the connection. They get the burrow. He pops the BKB, though, as Crystallis will pop his own. Trying to go on top of Radon, attempting to run away at this point. Mipushka in the tree line, kind of ignoring him for the most part. Will Nightmare himself to try to delay as much as possible. As 33. The epicenter, Radon on the outskirts of it. Can he get out of dodge? He's going to use the Manta style, but eventually gets brought down. 3 kills for Tundra, and that might not be done yet. Burrow strike into the shackle. Not going to be the full connection, but they have the torrent as the focus fire. Laura with the remnants onto the high ground should be fine.
So that was effectively a 3 for 0 because Whitemon died to the Ancients.
Oh, did he?
In the middle of that, so they didn't even get a single kill.
Well then.
So really big win for the side of Tundra. Of course, the grand prize, getting the Luna down for the second time in the game.
And that close to doubled the lead just with that fight from Tundra.
And it was a little bit scrappy from the side of Spirit as well, right? Yatoro tried to flank and use Eclipse to kill AA, but he got caught by, I believe, a shackle shot or an Atos or whatever, and he was stuck. didn't want to immediately pop the BKB to ensure that kill, because he knows he needs it for the follow-up fight. But then, what does he use the BKB for, really? He used it for retreat. He ran away for the full 9 seconds and still, despite that, got chased down anyway. So didn't quite manage to put the pieces together there in that fight spirit. You can tell they have the potential, but Tundra are doing a really good job at finding angles and especially recognizing that when Darkseer is down, the fight kind of plays itself.
The 33 goes for the Aghanim Scepter, by the way, so still not going for a Piper, a Crimson, or anything of the sort.
I don't think he will at this point.
He'll be going for damage on that epicenter.
Yeah. He could even buy Refresher if he wanted now, to be honest.
Yeah, Root spotted. Will be TPing out, will be fine.
That's the thing about this.
He might not be. Uses the Gale Force, but he's going to get burned and right-clicked by Laurel, who also got the damage rune again. Again, feels like every rune is going its way.
Sand King is in theory a really strong Refresher hero, but some of the item builds don't allow for it. But when you have this item build, you have so much mana that it's not even a concern running out of mana if you buy Refresher at this point. So he can do that. He's not queuing up anything yet. He'll find Miposhka, though. Gets the Burrow Strike off.
He will. BZM and company in the cover of smoke will show, will kill. So in that line of thought, since 33 is having enormous impact on this game, top net worth for his team, what would you like to see after this? Like, is this going to be one of those Wind Waker type games?
I think either BKB or Refresher is probably...
Yeah, after that, yeah.
Yeah, then Wind Waker eventually. That should be the full inventory. That item is just bonkers when you get late enough into the game and you have this type of utility hero. So you could also consider Shiva, of course, but I don't know if it's too much of the same thing.
Yeah.
With what you already have. Yeah, it's always interesting. You know, you don't get to see this many games where Sand King is this strong, so it's kind of... yeah, it's cool to get some perspective of how 33 is considering in the game, like what he thinks is most impactful. Have a toss, and that's a dead AA.
Most of these pickoffs, of course, are against the supports. BZM actually going to use the boat onto the opposing support, but the Nightmare dodges a lot of damage. Burrow Strike from 33 at the epicenter as well, showing that Aghanim Scepter. 2 supports dead already for Spirit. And Laurel and company, I mean, I was going to say they're going to back away, but maybe they still want to fight. They're posturing as if that is the case. Laurel still has that amplify damage route.
Don has a good high ground position here.
Yep, 33 looking for the connection. Double Burrow Strike again. He is all over the place as the homing missile will continue on to Yatoro. Power shot not going to clip.
He's going to man to dodge this 10 out of 10 times, surely.
You think so? Nope, he does not. Back wall is there, though, onto Crystal, who pops the BKB. They're applying everything on top of Yatoro. He's dead. And now they're going to find another pickoff potentially in Collapse. It's going to get Gale forced into the arms of the rest of Tundra. Feels like they're just getting everything they want. I'm surprised they went in 3v5 and they were punished.
It's a funny situation because the Luna wants to Manta dodge the homing missile, but then she gets X'd.
Yeah, it's weird.
And when you get pulled back, it's really hard for your muscle memory to nail the timing of it, so he mistimes the Manta dodge, and he was stunned the whole way through. Miposhka also going to get taken out here easily. 33 just owning it up, but I think what happened was they pulled back the X mark and the homing missile hit, and that's such an easy shackle shot. Follow-up, he was chain stunned until he died. You're going to see the replay here. So here, he's ready to Manta, gets pulled back, mistimes it slightly, and then stun into stun.
He could not do anything.
He was his hero was unplayable.
So this opens it up for Tundra to finally go for the first Roche of the game. 27 minutes. I mean, like we talked about, neither team has a crazy Roche lineup, but when you're up this much and have just won a fight, he is right for the pickings.
Yep. Assuming they'll put this Aegis onto Crystal as well. Rue trying to be cute, but Whitemon is cuter.
Yeah, he gets off the Avalanche. It's actually not that... It was pretty close to killing Roche, I suppose.
In the last-ditch effort, once you're caught by that Atos, you know you have no way out. Might as well try, right?
So Aegis for Crystallis, who is starting to do quite a bit of damage.
Nice shackle angle there from Soxla Atos.
Yep, he's got all the tricks in his book. Miposhka, man, feels like he's been chain feeding the last few minutes. And like you talked about, Bane in these situations when you're behind just feels atrocious. Zero intent right now for him.
I would say Sand King is one of the tougher matchups in general for the hero outside of the laning stage because he just has insane reach.
But he did have good impact in the early game. He found 2 pickoffs. I mean, imagine if they didn't find those 2 pickoffs on Crystallis with the Fiend's Grip. This game would be even more in favor of Tundra. So 4 minutes on this Aegis. Tier 2 tower looks to be the... okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Crystallis might want to change your hotkeys for power treads and BKB so they're not next to each other on the keyboard. It's worth a consideration.
You did a content piece about that. Was Crystallis involved in that
No.
at all? All right.
No, he was keeping it a secret. He doesn't want people to know why he's misclicking his BKB.
Well, I mean, they clearly saw it. He was in front of the tower, and they're going to try to take full advantage.
That's just such a signature Spirit move. This one piece of information, they're just all in on this. Like, this is the best advantage they're probably going to get in the next 10 minutes is the fact that it's on cooldown. But unfortunately for them, another big item has just arrived for Crystallis that they do not know about, which is that Satanic.
Maposhka, again, nice dodge, but he's dead. Well, and they're going to find potential another connection. AA Blast is coming with 33 all alone, getting bursted down despite having the Bloodstone. Huge kill for Spirit. Rue will die, though, so 2 supports down again for Spirit at the beginning of the fight. Radon barely gets out. And Laurel will follow suit as well.
Yeah, they do kill 33, which is a big one, but they popped so much for that. Eclipse, BKB on the Luna, so can't really fight anymore, and essentially you do end up trading a 2-for-1. Oh, he actually went Sanjin Yasha and BKB.
Okay.
Okay, now I understand it even less. Now, because like, I don't know, it surely has to feel bad buying both of these items back to back on Ember, right? You want a high impact teamfight item like a Shiva's Guard or, you know, something to that degree.
I mean, all of their damage really is Yatoro.
Yeah.
And we talked about the illusions from the wall, not going to be that impactful this game.
Maybe he wanted to get Shiva's, but they already have the one on Collapse, so he had to do something else. I don't know.
Whitemon. They might be able to find 1 kill here, but the Ghost Ship is coming from BZM. Laurel has to pop the BKB, try to avoid that completely, so they do take out Whitemon to start things out. But Laurel onto the low ground. I mean, can they even fight now, is the question. The posture next to their tier 2 tower. Rue gonna get brought back.
Toss.
And we'll get the toss back onto Soxa. Relatively tanky, gets the win run off as well. Shackle will connect onto the Darkseer. BZM trying to show himself. The wall goes off onto 2. Crystallis is going to take out the illusion pretty quickly here, but there's the big burrow strike from 33 showing up after the death timer as Rue and company trying to fight their way out inside of this. Radon just right-clicking away. 33 will fall first, but Radon getting super low. It doesn't look like Tundra want to continue this fight. Crystallis, again, still has that Aegis. Gets to the other side of the river. See if they can fully disengage. No, another toss back from Rue, but there's the Lotus run onto Crystallis, attempting to run out here and collapse. He has vacuumed pretty shortly. They will find the first life onto Crystallis. Can Tundra still fight despite not having 33? Big AA Blast is coming. It's going to connect onto 3 heroes. Crystallis gets that is a dead Maposhka to start the fight. Zitora has to run away now. And they will find the connection onto Collapse. Dies inside the tree line. Nice Manta dodge, but there's a beautiful shackle from Soxa. A blood grenade at 31 minutes in the game. Yatoro has to try to fight his way out of this, but it is not to be.
Wow, what an insane Ice Blast. If that doesn't hit Bane, they lose that fight horribly, but because he has the shard, gets the stun, stopping the grip, and they're able to clean house. Whitemon had to come up big there, and that is the best AA ult I've seen all tournament. Hit 3 heroes, including Bane off on the side.
Yeah,
that was honestly a potential window for a full-on comeback for Spirit, because they would have killed Gyro there 100% of the time, and maybe even got additional kills from heroes trying to help out. But Whitemon, with a massive play, you're going to see the replay here. Look at this beautiful placement. Maposhka on the edge, just full on. It does not get better than that. It even grazed the Darkseer on the way in, so that was a 4-hero connection, of which 3 got stunned. And then this beautiful shackle too, man. This is just some, yeah, the blood grenade, filthy. Very unnecessary, but style point.
Everything adds up, Cinderella.
All about.
And Collapse on this Darkseer.
Oh, they're both asleep. That's cool.
Yeah, Maposhka. Let's get the reflection. He's likely going to get burned out here. As Rue's going to take the full epicenter rage from 33. So again, double support's dead from Spirit. Feels like we've been saying that a lot this game. Between them, they have 23 deaths, by the way, at 32 minutes. That is kind of absurd. Because now the tier 2 tower going to be taken out by Tundra. I don't see them stopping. At least we'll poke at the high ground.
They still need to be a little bit careful since they're making this push play without Aegis, and you are playing against the displacement hero in the Tiny as well as Vacuum. Technically, you have triple displacement with Nightmare, but the thing is, if Tiny is dead, I think Crystallis feels relatively safe. He can always just BKB if he gets Vacuum and get out of there.
Yep, they force the fortification.
Glyph is good enough.
That is good.
call it here and just back off and prepare for either the Tormentor, which is top left, or a potential 2 minutes until Roche respawn. Obviously a while away, but they can start controlling the area, get good vision out. It's been interesting. Do you feel like we've got an answer to the Luna pick?
Ooh, Lotus, AA Blast with Crystallis on the other side.
See ya later.
Man, oh man, that just looks too easy for Tundra. Sorry, you were saying?
I was saying, do you feel like the Luna has shown why it was the pick yet? Like, does it?
Well, he's not a critical mass yet, but no.
Right.
I mean, it could have been a lot of different carries, I guess.
Exactly. It's one of those where, yeah, you can be like, okay, the Luna game didn't work, but was it really the Luna's fault? Because they kind of got crushed around the map in the earlier portions of the game. But I still thought it was an interesting pick to just try to conceptualize. And my best bet is still the Ice Blast against percentage-based block, being a theory that Spirit have that could be a way of dealing from the carry position with playing against AA. But yeah, they've just been overwhelmed so hard that I still don't really feel like we've seen the Luna, the moment of brilliance.
Do you really think that that is the main issue, though, for Spirit? I feel like they just don't have damage elsewhere is the problem. It feels like the Darkseer pick, looking at the whole draft now, like kind of meh, and then Laurel not going for any damage.
That's the thing, though. Ember can actually deal a lot of damage if he itemizes for it, right?
Oh, exactly.
But it feels like it was by necessity. He had to go way too defensive because the early stage failed. Yeah, but when you're drafting like this, your plan isn't, okay, we know Laurel is going to suffer on Ember, so we're going to pick a hard carry that will do the damage Ember doesn't. Look, he's actually still ahead of the Luna, right? With this defensive item build. So yeah, it's just interesting. It's one of those games where Spirit definitely have the depth, but that doesn't always mean that you're gonna pull out the best. Sometimes maybe it can almost be a curse to be able to play absolutely everything, because then you can maybe overthink it a little bit or get too creative. Yeah. Yeah. Here comes the MKB for Gyro. So Crystallis about to be maxed out here. He can upgrade, he can finish his Ag synth, and then get an additional slot, which will probably be a Butterfly if I had to guess. Luna will not buy MKB. It's going to be good against the wall, if he has any concerns about that. Alternatively, Rapiers, of course, on the cards if you get Aegis and just try to finish the game. That could be a possible avenue.
Do you think Rapier on Yatoro at some point would make sense? I mean, they are down 20k, and they do need more damage.
Problem is he doesn't have a critical strike, so...
Yeah, it does feel like they're a couple items away from being able to fit that in.
His current quick buy is Satanic Daedalus on the Luna. And I guess after that, Rapier becomes...
Oh, only after that, I see.
You just need to last until minute 50, 55.
Team Spirit, we talked about it, they are very good at extending the game.
Yeah.
Despite being an enormous hold.
The biggest concern here is if Yatoro feels like he has to go back for a Satanic, this kind of, at least with my rationale of the Lunar Orbit, kind of defeats the purpose of why you picked it against AA. If you feel like you need to buy lifesteal anyway, then, well, the Ice Blast is still going to be the kicker in this late game matchup that you kind of can't solve in any reasonable way as Luna. Actually going to knock on the front door here. What team in the world does this? No Aegis, 20k down.
That's right. And they're going to get backstab. BZM and company are
maybe cost them.
Yatoro right into their arms. He gets shackled. He gets AA blasted, burrowed. Ghost ship dead. 90 seconds. Yatoro was not expecting that. Laurel will have to use the BKB to run away.
X mark.
He's going to X. How low is this BKB? Nah, it's good. Still, that is a huge kill for Tundra. That will open up a potential Roche if it actually spawns in time. Worlders are oyster again.
Ruin a very precarious position here. Probably going to try to cut the next wave, if I had to guess. Hoping that BZM has left, but this is dire straits for Team Spirit.
Courier.
He's going to kill it.
Very important courier kill for Rue. Needs to get some stat line going here.
He tried to kill a second one there with a 3 toss against the...
That was actually a pretty important courier. Had quite a bit on it. Takes out the wave. It's going to cost him his life.
Dead for this.
So this, he's going to Yules, but eventually be brought down.
I can't say I love that strategically, but I love the style points. So we'll give him a pass for that one.
Cool.
Yes. And that is more important than a lot of things in Dota.
Sure.
Aegis going into the pocket of Gyrocopter.
The good news, Cinderin, is Spirit now has 1 kill from both their supports combined.
Nice.
So
Wait,
they are,
what?
they are on the board.
What do you mean?
Spirit supports finally got a kill.
No, Miposhka is 0.
I know, combined. They have a kill.
Okay.
They're one enemy.
We're really scraping the bottom of the
we said how many deaths they had. They have 24 deaths combined. So
I wasn't sure if you were misreading it or if you were making the joke that collapses a support in this game with his kills. He's been having a rough one. He is very far down the net worth compared to where we're used to seeing him. He's still, you know, his inventory doesn't look all that bad. It's just everybody else is even richer. So by comparison, 39 minutes in here. Is this going to be the final blow from Tundra? 26k up, Aegis trying to get a high ground position here. Spirit obviously setting it up. And I think at this point, you're kind of just hoping Rue finds some miracle toss to build this fight around. But the ward is gone, and now this play's over. You got to go back to base.
Yeah, there's the burrow initiation for 33, forces out the Remnant. Chrysalis is huge, absolutely enormous. As the Daedalus, MKB, Satanic, Ags, BKB, Aegis, of course.
Level 25, lest we forget that as well.
Yes.
Has the talent advantage over Radon. He is a level and a half away from 25.
Very true. He's going to get X. There's the Roche banner as well. Should provide a lot of cover. Although they do have some mechanisms to get the creeps out of the AoE.
And they have Enfeeble. Can slow things down a little bit. Dropping the wall. Desperation measure. Trying to kill the...
Yeah, the Glaive will
banner.
eventually get it. That's a pretty good counter. Having it, that's why they picked Luna, of course, for this late game situation. Chrysalis at half HP. That's just life number 1. Of course, he's going to get tossed back. Torrent onto Rue in the meantime. Chris has to pop the BKB and the Satanic. Who wants to try to fight his way out of this? He's going to die first time. A lot of the items on cooldown, though, 33 with a big epicenter on basically the entirety of Team Spirit. They get Miposhka, he buys back. Rue tosses up in the air, dies shortly after. Chrysalis getting gone on. This is going to be his second life. A big torrent onto Laurel. Jumps right in. Lotus applied to Chrysalis. Has to be careful, though. It's outside. Oh, a big vacuum from Collapse as Laurel gets spotted and destroyed. No buyback for him. Radon does take out the gyro, though. That is a huge kill as the Nightmare. He actually walks up the cliff. Saksa in a horrific spot now. That's a buyback on Laurel. They really need to defend this. Onto the north they go. Try to apply some pressure to Whitemon. Get him easily. BZM with the BKB TP. Otherwise known as the Nightfall. Very affectionately so, of course, as Saksa on the run. This is Laurel with that Aghanim Scepter, so he can get pretty much everywhere. Saksa with his Gale Force. Onto the high ground. Looks like he will be able to get out of dodge this time. So a defense was mounted from Spirit. Cost them a couple buybacks.
Yeah, 3 of them, but not the big one.
They didn't lose the
Luna.
Rex.
And the Luna has to continue to grow. And the big thing here, you get level 25 on Radon now. So he's going to have that talent equalized against the gyro, but Sand King also cracked 25. Kunkka now also cracking 25. So really, really big talents being picked up here on the side of Tundra.
Were you surprised that Chrysalis popped everything on the first life when he was about to die already? The Satanic didn't feel like it had that much impact. I'm sure the Crimson Guard had something to do with that, but it was just like a 1v5, isolated.
Yeah.
You wait for second life to do that, potentially.
It's a bit tricky, because if you wait for second life and you get Fiend Script on the second life,
that's true.
Then the reason they could kill him in the first place was that they committed grip onto the Aegis.
Right.
So
well,
it's kind of tricky.
Attempted high ground from Spirit. Of course, they want to just force some buybacks from Tundra's side. They have the 3 that were dead here. Doesn't look like they'll be forced to do so, though. Tundra's still with a massive net worth lead.
Radiant are scanning.
I can't. You know, as much as you and
Why do you keep looking at that graph?
We've talked about how we don't believe in the win expectancy graph. And what do you think it says?
All right, I'm going to say because it's Spirit, 15%.
47-53.
What?
What? Isn't that crazy?
What does Gaben know that we don't?
I don't know.
That's
I'm
crazy.
even factoring in my you know, AA has like 80% win rate this tournament.
Yeah.
I know the graph isn't based on this tournament specifically. It's just interesting to see how, I don't know, it's just a fun talking point. I don't really believe in these numbers anymore. I used to. I think it used to be quite accurate. As of late, I'm starting to have my doubts.
It's working off of patch 7.01 or something like that. It's Daedalus now.
Right. That would be very Valve. They just abandoned the feature and just keep it in there, you know?
Very true.
For
very sad, but true.
Here comes the smoke. 5-man from Spirit, 3 from Tundra. Inbound, potentially game-deciding moment here.
Laurel
on with a TP out.
Yeah, okay.
Going back to defend the bottom wave. Obviously, he is a huge chunk of his hero is global.
Laurel has a shield rune, so he's going to be He's already pretty tough to kill with the stats. There's this BKB. And of course the Aghanim Scepter, giving all that extra mobility. I'm sure they would want to fight while this is up. 33 was spotted going to the high ground, but this is really good positioning from Tundra. Crystal is actually leading the way. He's going to get Searing Chain. Up the homing missile onto Laurel. This little poke and prodding, 33 is really the initiator here for Tundra. Oh, he actually gets Avatos back into the fray. AA Blast is coming, not going to help 33. That's already a death for him at the beginning of the fight. Does have buybacks. It cost Spirit Rue, though, as Laurel just remnanting away with that BKB as well, as Collapse will be forced to use his own. And Chrysalis on the high ground, still posturing. Yatoro wants to go. He actually uses BKB, and they need to fight here. That's a buyback, though, from the Snake.
Oh, that's a big shackle.
Onto 2, but that's a huge shackle onto Yatoro. Do they have the damage? Yes! Foxa gets the kill. Yatoro down and out. Buyback available, and 33 able to TP onto that shrine. And this is the beginning of the end of game 1 in all likelihood for Spirit. No buybacks on these 3 heroes. It's up to Laurel and Miposhka. Will Miposhka have another death to the support name? AA Blast into the power shot. Execution style. 33, what are you doing?
Oh, it
all right, it worked.
The Pirate Cloak.
GG is called, and that is game number 1 for Tundra. It takes them a while. Just shows how crazy Spirit are at defense. Needs to be dimmed slightly for 33. Very, very important for him to be able to see properly, because he dominated game number 1. This time, though, his Sand King was taken out of the pool. Beastmaster, though. Well, he's pretty good on that hero, too.
Yeah, and this time around, they get the Coddle, which we've seen win plenty of games so far already. Soxa has been doing a great job on that, and if you think Coddle Sand King's a good lane, wait until you try this one. Coddle Beastmaster, in my opinion, even worse to face. So this will be a true challenge for the side of Spirit. The good news is TA, in theory, one of the better carries against this lane, but if nothing else, Tundra should just be able to push out waves, go and stack camps with the Coddle, and then instead of farming with Sandstorm, well, guess what? You can also farm it with the Axis. So 33 likely to get off to a good start, and today Beastmaster, in a way, has kind of been the hero of the day. He's just looked very, very strong. He was also strong last night when we were casting a couple of Beastmaster mids.
Yep.
So definitely one to watch out for. The Underlord is the big question mark for me. He chose to pick it into Razor, a traditionally bad lane matchup, but perhaps there's some bigger picture here with the meta shaping up to be a lot around tanky mid-game cores. You see Tundra take advantage of Kunkka a lot, and of itemizing for tankiness. Maybe Underlord can fit a similar role.
Oh, Aishar's actually blocked Yatoro out. The Plasma Field's going to clip him. Blood Grenade as well. First blood to Crystallis. Perfect Ice Shards coming out from Whitemon. And that is first blood already for Tundra, so continuing the momentum from the previous game. We'll see if Spirit can fight back.
Yeah, if you think the Underlord lane is already bad, wait until you play against the Razor with First Blood too. That should be great. That'd be a good time.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, if game number 1 is anything to go by, Tundra were doing very well in the early mid-game portion and kind of built themselves a meaningful advantage, and Spirit were struggling to find plays. That's my biggest concern here. I really share that sentiment with the panel that Tundra, or excuse me, Spirit's playmaking potential is really centered around one singular hero in the Ember. So if his start isn't good, or if 1 or 2 of his first moves fail and he loses momentum, things can very quickly slow down a lot. As topical for slowing down, we'll have another pause here. Okay, that's a very short pause.
That's what we call a micro pause.
If you do want to slow it down, you got to commit to it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Now you're just pretending that you paused the game. How long do these sprays last? How long do we have to look at these 2 parentheses in the mid lane?
It's like, is my screen bugged? What kind of spray paint is that? How is that actually accepted in the game? It's so weird. Very toxic, too, of course.
Yeah, that's why it was accepted in the game.
That's true. Unless it was from me, of course. Yeah, then denied immediately.
Of course.
So yeah, Laurel versus BZM again, but Ember versus Kunkka, how would you expect this to go on a typical basis?
Well, last game it was a slight advantage for Kunkka until level 5, and then he started ramping up a little bit more. So this is probably going to be similar. I think both heroes from somewhat evenly. Rue here going to go down.
Oh yeah. And
Collapse got a good start here, though. He got 7 CS out of the first 8, which is quite solid in this lane, to be fair. It
will get harder once Crystallis gets level 3, and of course, panel kind of talked about it. One of his signature heroes feels like, regardless of the meta, he will be picking a Razor at some point, and usually doing quite well with it.
Yeah.
But how do you think it matches up outside of the laning stage in this game?
It's a traditional carry counterpick to TA as well. So he's double dipping there. I wouldn't say the hero is particularly good against Ember, but it's hard to find a hero that's good against Ember and TA. Not necessarily the same characteristics those two heroes get countered by. But you have other solutions for Ember in your draft through X Mark and Roar. So carry doesn't necessarily need to have any meaningful lockdown. So it's a solid pick. I can't really question a Crystalist Razor. If I like the draft, then I will, you know, if it counters something, if it's kind of straightforward, he will always deliver. Yeah. Rue again.
Static Link applied to Rue.
He's cooked.
Looks to be inevitable kill coming out from Crystalist, you would assume. Indeed it is. And he will be working with Whitemon, who took the tag team facet. Of course, it feels like we've been seeing that most of the time.
Nice block with the illusion.
Firestorm doing quite a bit of damage. Gets the Pit of Malice off as well as Collapse. Yes, he's able to get Crystalist the last tick of damage from the Firestorm. Kind of unexpected kill turnaround there for Collapse. You talked about how bad this lane would be. He's having a great time.
This is not how you generally imagine the what's it called, the Funhouse mirror to play out.
Yeah, that's
being able to find a kill in that fashion is extremely niche. But wow, what a play from Rue and Collapse there together to once again.
Oh, Blood Grenade. Last word is enough. Miposhka kills off 33. Collapse, though, will they get revenge? Whitemon with the nice blocks. Collapse kind of resigned to his death, but a big whip comes in from Rue. Crystalist gets the kill onto Collapse. Snowball will eventually clip Rue. Indeed it does, and they should be able to clean them up easily. Whitemon surviving as a result of that long-ass snowball. But 2 dead there in the lane for Spirit. So a little bit of revenge for Tundra. I mean, looking at the CS that Crystalist, bottom of all the CS of the cores right now, 9-1 only on the Razor.
Yeah, he spent a ton of his time chasing heroes instead of hitting creeps, but he's still staying neck and neck with the Templar Assassin's net worth just from all the kill gold he's got from being 4-1-1. But yeah, it does look kind of funny when you look at it. 4 kills, 10 CS on a carry. It was a pretty unusual sight, to say the least. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. If you get the same gold out of the kills as the CS, it doesn't really matter all that much.
Yep, mid lane, a wash, as we kind of talked about, kind of expecting overall. And what kind of gank potential you think we can find from the side of, well, both sides even. I guess the Ringmaster is the main one for Team Spirit with the knives.
Yeah, if we're talking about ganking mid, I think only really the Ringmaster will consider going mid, but I think at the point that Kunk has 6, I don't even know if the kill exists anyway, so you might not bother and just focus on other stuff. If you mean more in like a macro sense, mainly the Ember and the Fiend's Gate would be the place for Spirit on the other side of the coin. There's way more catch, right? You've got Tusk, Beast, Kunkka, and of course, Caudle has become a ganker, it feels like, with the recalls. In this patch, sets up a ton of plays. We've seen 9class and Soxa both, in particular, do a really good job at it. Soxa gonna perhaps be scouted out that he warded here. If Miposhka was keeping track of the inventory, he would have seen that Soxa spent his Observer. He kind of only placed it in one position down here. It doesn't look like Miposhka feels confident to go and de-ward it for now. He'll zone him out. But standard Tundra stuff. 33, well, the lane wasn't the greatest. Let's go farm some jungle. He is working on Helm of the Dominator.
The thing I really like about the Spirits lineup is the global presence. I mean, Ember very mobile, global silence from the Silencer. We don't really see Ags on TA, but technically that's a way to get in. And of course the Underlord being able to gank from global range essentially with the Fiend's Gate. As BZM gonna get gone on, Blood Grenade applied to him as Laurel. With that Flame Guard, BZM just gonna simply TP out though.
They will not see you.
He didn't X before TPing, so he's going to have to do the long run back to mid. So even though this didn't give a kill to Spirit, it is still going to slow down Kunkka a decent amount. Of course, Kunkka is one of the few mid heroes that does not buy bottle, so you also need to spend longer time in Fountain when you get sent home. You will regenerate slower. You have a pretty big HP. So. Ruin Collapse will farm some stacks.
A lot of XP leeching going on in this series, huh?
Doesn't seem deliberate, at least not to begin with. I think Whitemon just realized he was getting experience, so he's obviously making the call here for Crystalist to come over and take part in the fun.
Oh yeah,
Rue.
Plasma Field hits Rue, but I don't know if they want to go on this. Whitemon invisible still. They have the Sentry as Collapse. Will be static linked, not for very long though. That Pit of Malice is extremely annoying, but BZM coming in from the right side. Torrent will connect onto Collapse. Neutral's not going to get the kill. Crystallis with another one to his name. That is number 5 already at 7 minutes. Pretty disgusting start overall for him.
When's the last time you've seen a carry with 5 kills trail the enemy carry with 0 kills, minute 7?
Yep, those creep kills worth a lot more, it seems.
Insane. He's up by about 25 CS on Radon. Of course, I mean, for the most part, this lane, he's been spending a decent amount of time playing effectively 1v0. So obviously, you're going to get everything.
And Yatoro also has the level advantage, strangely enough. That is actually kind of weird. I was expecting to see a little bit of an advantage for Crystallis, but not the case, it seems. Yatoro, I mean, he's been left alone here for a good amount of time as well, so good amount of solo XP for him. Laurel will be scouting out the Ancients for the enemy. That's a triple stack, I believe. 33, like you talked about, with Soxa's help. Just an absolute dream of a combo to farm these stacks.
Are scanning.
Yeah, he's level 6 now, and Beastmaster Collapse just cracked level 5. Despite having a, honestly, for all intents and purposes, pretty good laning stage on the Underlord, he is still a full level behind the Beast. And 33 is going to keep ramping up. He will just flat out farm faster than Underlord, because he's going to have the Caudal helping him with stacking and with giving him Chakra. So not really a fair fight.
All right, well, Laurel and Miposhka teaming up to, I don't know if they want to try to take this deck. They definitely need some help, but you're going to see the last word applied to BZM, who makes his way to the high ground. Illuminate comes out from Sox, as Whitemon TPing in as well. So this is 4 members of Tundra shutting this down. Miposhka's dead. Laurel will have to remnant away. So it did force them to, I guess, rotate there a bit. Stacks will still go the way of Tundra pretty cleanly.
33 is going to start going to work here with the Wild Axes. It'll take a bit of time, but as we already established with the Chakra, this should be a decent amount faster than usual. Sox are going to steal a couple of creeps.
Yep, of course, that's the support tax.
He's, of course, saying, I'm helping you, but we all know deep down.
I mean, Soxa was #1 ranked carry in pub games on 4 accounts.
Yep.
So just showing that
strictly playing Caudal.
I don't know about that. That's Crystallis.
Oh, this is a big kill.
Laurel with that haste. This is going to be a really easy one, and that is a big bounty going the way of Laurel.
It's true, he did already lose his streak. I thought this was still going to be a streak kill, but he's cut it in half with the 5 kills. So, still nice though for Spirit to get something going their way and have Collapse be involved to get some nice experience here now up to 6.5. 33 is, however, is 8.5. Yeah. How it goes.
Dire's top tower is
Collapse.
Yep, we have to pit him out, but Collapse is blocked off by the Ice Shards. Snowball will end up hitting as well as the Plasma Field. It's going to be an easy one for Tundra.
Finishing it off with the Ghost Ship, and going to connect onto Laurel. The room will start fading now.
Miposhka, he gets clipped. He's in a lot of trouble. Static Link applied. Actually does break it. Try to deny himself to the Prowlers. It's their specialty to deny heroes, but not in this game, it seems. Whitemon gets credit for that. Why did they get rid of Prowlers to begin with? And then they just brought them back. What was the point?
I think that there was a time when people were stacking Ancients and the Prowlers were making them too difficult to farm because of the 50% armor reduction and which they still have, mind you. The game has just changed quite a bit since then. The bigger question is, why do we never get the Jungle Stalkers? The Evasion Ancients.
Yes, my favorite from Dota 1.
Never had them.
3 people in the audience probably understand the reference. Is Laurel, he's going to get torrented. Cleave, not going to be there.
Like smart. He has global if he wants to.
Axe, yeah, Miposhka gets to the other side of the river. Ice Shard's not going to have too big of an effect on this fight. A lot of members from both teams amalgamating here. As Illuminate from Soxa will be healing a bit, and here we see a smoke from Team Spirit.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, this is going to be Radon's first time moving from the bottom lane after 11 minutes.
Well, Laurel tried for the Searing Chains, but no connection is to be made.
Radon is straight into farming triangle now instead, so uprooting from bot to rotate over. This is probably part of a longer time strategy of accessing the top tower.
They have the boat onto Root, taking a considerable amount of damage, but the numbers are here for Spirit. Laurel, actually Collapse even joined. This is all 5 members of Spirit to take out a lowly Tusk. They'll get him though. Want to show their prowess to kill off that support. Still 9-4 advantage for Tundra, 1K lead. Pretty even game though. And for the Underlord, since this is a hero we don't get to see all too often, looks like a Vanguard is in his card. What kind of, I mean, is this just an Aura bot? Is there any other build to this? Like, can you go Gleipnir with the extra AoE?
You definitely can. I think in this game the concern is if you do go that direction, then you kind of just get overwhelmed in the mid game. I think you're going to have to itemize some sustain so you can stand your ground, because you know what type of fight is coming. It's not like Tundra haven't shown this strategy 5 times already. They're going to hit this massive mid-game timing with Illuminate spam, with tanky heroes frontlining.
They're grouping up here. They want Laurel, but he has a shield rune. Super hard to get him. Ice Shards are actually avoided. Miposhka, though, does get X'd. And we brought back into the air with the Walrus Punch, and they will eventually take him out. So 25 seconds of no global silence at the ready.
And you'd imagine Tundra want to start looking toward mid here. Kunkka got his Blade Mail. Beastmaster is about to finish Helm of the Overlord minute 13. It's kind of ridiculous to say out loud, but here we are. So then they can collapse on that mid lane and get that tower taken down, which would open up the map a lot more. Beastmaster loves occupying the enemy side of the map, and taking that mid tower just makes it easier to get deeper wards out and get access to the enemy triangle eventually as well, which is obviously a big thing to take away from, in particular, Templar Assassin. Very much relies on farming a lot of jungle to continue her ramp up. And similar to game number 1, Radon is having a good time. He's very farmed just like he was on the Luna, but the other cores of the team a little bit more in struggle town. Whereas Tundra have all 3 cores unlocked. Kind of, honestly, it's almost a carbon copy of game number 1 in a way.
Except I think the lead for Yatoro is a lot greater at this stage of the game than it was last.
It's a bit bigger, and I guess his matchup is also a bit better. I still didn't fully vibe with the Luna pick last game. I think the TA is just a more established good hero in this patch, but you're playing against the hard lockdown of Beastmaster and Tusk, and against Razor.
Wow, Laurel did not get a power rune. I don't know if I've seen that the entire series. He's been all over the place. This tier 1 tower will fall in favor of Spirit. BZM gets the deny though. Yes. Nicely done from him. So from the Tundra perspective, I mean, again, 33 been pretty much just left unattended, right? He's going to have the Helm of the Overlord. Is that the go time, or are they trying to align it with something else?
I mean, just keep controlling this area and get the Tormentor. Has to be step number 1. You can tell they're already preparing for it. They're starting to bring down the numbers. And if this play were to be successful, they just get it uncontested. But of course, at this level of play, Spirit know this is about to happen, so they make their own counter moves. A very telegraphed situation for both teams. Now it's all about who gets the angle. Collapse with the luxury of connecting from the other side of the map.
They have to run right into this newly picked up Black Dragon from 33. Ice Shards actually blocking them entirely. Is there going to be any follow-up? Not yet. Wheel of Wonder, a little bit of an awkward placement. They use the snowball to get to the other side. They're going to be able to take out Rube very easily. One more Axis does the job, and now the number advantage for Tundra as they continue on, trying to find another pickoff. BZM with X in 4 seconds. Torrent actually does hit Yatoro. Do they have any more follow-up? They have the Roar at the ready. There we go. Gets it off with the Axes. This is a lot of damage to withstand, and Yatoro will fall and collapse, puts himself in a horrific spot. Is Laurel actually going to come to help out? Doesn't look like that's the case. They need to concede this. 3 dead for Spirit, and that means the Tormentor will go the way of Tundra.
That was really awkward. This fight lasted 40 seconds, and Collapse joined when it was over and died. Bit of a miscommunication, misread of what exactly they could do, I suppose. Maybe the gate was meant to save Yatoro, but you're going to see the replay here. As you mentioned, the Torrent, really nice hit is about to come up here. There from BZM, just clipping him on the edge. They chakra him, so he's got another Torrent with the X mark as well. And now comes the Fiend's Gate, and I feel this fight is already over. You don't have global.
Yeah.
The travel time, and now he actually completes the teleport, so he just kills himself too. Then they lose the Tormentor. So this was honestly the worst case scenario for Spirit. They could have just lost the Tormentor instead. But now they lose a big fight to boot. Unfortunately here for Tundra, Sox are the one to get the shard. That's the dream. An Illuminate upgrade, the 2 recall charges in Spirit form, and especially considering the alternative was getting it on the Tusk, which it's all right, but
it's solid.
Different.
Yeah, it's not the same category.
Yeah. Well,
BZM
with some good eyes here, might find a big kill. The Wheel.
Wheel of Wonder into the whip as well. and that is a nice kill for Team Spirit. They need a few more of those to get back in this game because the 6K deficit at 17 minutes is pretty dire indeed.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And this tier 1 tower should be able to pressure it at the very least, if not just take it outright. So Blink Dagger now for Yatoro as well. And it feels like all the hopes and dreams for the upper bracket run for Team Spirit are, in this game 2 at least, on Yatoro's shoulders for the most part. Tower will be claimed.
Managed to open that up, so similar fashion to game number 1, Spirit will take the mid tower first and then the enemy safe lane. Try to maximize the farm that they can get. If they keep pushing out top with Ember and keep maybe a support just casually pushing mid, that should give Radon a pretty good idea of where he can farm most of the time. Of course, smokes will always give that surprise factor.
I don't know what their options were, but Tundra potentially getting a little unlucky on the neutral items. They only have one Gossamer Cape. I feel like that is something you just automatically get against a TA.
Yeah, they would definitely like at least one more of those.
It's Crimson Guard now there for Mr. Collapse.
Yeah, and he's going to go for the pipe next. So pretty standard, just full-on Aura bot as you called it. Tundra now with the return fire in mid, getting that tower for themselves. And heading straight down to the next objective, because why not? When you're this strong, just keep up that momentum. Now Beastmaster Ags, I believe, is arriving as well. This is an insane power spike for 33. He is stupid farmed. I feel like I've said it 10 times this game, but it keeps surprising me that the rate at which he's acquiring.
Every game we've casted it feels like I feel like he's just left completely uncontested in these games. Easier said than done to shut him down. There's the Ags, like you said, Maposhka and Collapse showing themselves for this defense. It's not like Tundra are in any real hurry. They do have more power spikes to come. And we haven't really talked about Chrysalis too much since the beginning stages of the game, but he has a full Mjolnir, and BKB just 600 away, and that is probably the alignment in which they will start grouping up and taking bigger objectives.
And it feels like the challenge for Spirit is actually very similar to game number 1, where once BKBs are popped, Radon is kind of the only hero that kills anything. Ember's physical damage is negligible. Last game they had a Darkseer with no good wall target. This time they have an Underlord with auras. He's not going to hit for anything. So Razor, if he pops BKB and links the TA, that's already an amazing entry into the fight. Now you're going to couple it up with a Radiance.
Big Sand Chains onto 2. Wheel of Wonder there as well. They look into the gaze of the Wheel of Wonder. It's not to their advantage though. Whitemon gets off the snowball just before he dies as they get the roar off in the meantime onto the Ember Spirit, but Laurel has plenty of HP to work with. Collapse channeling through his Fiend's Gate, but the Torrent is actually going to stop the cancellation, and it's going to lead to his ultimate demise. But Tundra's already lost 2, including BCM on the Kunkka. Roach wants to fight. Will he get anybody to throw into the air? Nothing would make him more happy than to eat some hero for lunch. It's 33 with the axes. The Luminates continuing to heal from the sideline from Sox. 33 takes a burst of damage from Yatoro, who's now melded. Actually TPing out instead. That's being a 2 for 2. Basically the same positions dying on each side.
More or less. It was the Tundra mid.
Yeah, that's right.
But you could make the case that Beastmaster is the mid and Kunkka is the off lane.
It never feels like 33 is really the 3, even though there's a lot of 3s in his name. And they're just going to go into the Roche pit.
Standard stuff, tag team plus Drums of Slom. It's very nice and easy, and they know that Spirit have expended a lot of their key abilities. Global as well as Fiend's Gate on cooldown means this is just a flat out gimme, and they're going to get the Aegis over to 33. Now he can just flat out run in and give vision, and if he can find a roar on either the Ember or the TA, that's probably a great start to the fight. The dream is to roar TA as you connect Static Link, and I think every single situation has to be a forced disengage for Spirit, because I think they'll run out of damage way too quickly. With that in mind,
it's Ko the Bull.
I am actually surprised to see 33 not buy a dagger for that reason. He's gonna opt for Force Staff, it looks like. I guess just the value against TA traps, against Pit of Malice, against chains, just repositioning.
Wheel of Wonder gonna be avoided from BZM, but that puts him in a precarious spot in the corner. Gets off the boat for the extra damage mitigation. Actually does connect onto Yatoro. Stalks it there with a Will-O-Wisp apparently.
Oh, he missed the heal.
Ignis Fatus is there, but the heal does come out the second time around. But he is just burning down. BZM drops dead. Maposhka, more brain drain for him and more brain rot for Tundra.
He might have lived if the first Illuminate hit as well, and now 33 as well. Keep in mind, this is an Aegis. If he just wasted this for nothing.
Yeah, he actually uses the Roar. He's going to get some teammates thanks to the recall, but that's a huge firestorm on top of everybody. Chrysalis pops the BKB. They've already lost BZM. Chrysalis trying to do as much damage as he can. The box is actually going to save Radon a little bit longer as Chrysalis does get taken out in turn, and Team Spirit come out big time in this fight, and they're going to get more on top. 4 dead for Tundra, and Team Spirit, I'm surprised that they went in there.
Yes, I believe
the Tundra side.
I believe the play they made was Beastmaster got the Roar off and was in dire straits, so Saksa recalled himself and a teammate in, and they all just piled together in the pit. You're going to see it here. So here comes the Roar, and now Coddle's going to arrive and bring in the Razor, and they all land in a pit of malice. And if Chrysalis could have insta-popped BKB and had, let's say he had another 30% health right now, he could have maybe just run down Radon and won the fight, but maybe it was just perfect timing on some sort of stun on the rival. It would kind of only be the whip, right? Nothing else could have prevented him from casting BKB upon arrival there on the Razor. Big moment for Spirit. We're starting to look quite grim. That is a major recovery, cutting the lead in half.
Whoa! Very close. Maposh gets away. Yeah, only a 4K lead now for Tundra. And if Team Spirit can somehow take the next Roche, that would, I feel like, equalize the game.
Yeah.
And they do have a lineup that can definitely fight in the pit. You got the Deso for the damage onto Roche itself. And for Collapse, so he has the Crimson.
Prepare for a
Does he
lesson.
have something coming on the Courier? Oh yeah, I think he's finishing the pipe here.
Seeking out. No Tendrils of the Deep being cast. That would have been funny.
Of the Deep.
It's Tendril, Shannon.
Wait,
Congregations is later.
Damn it. Wasn't that the same name as the Impale that Tidehunter had? Yeah, it was Tendrils of the Deep.
Was it called that?
I think so. Huh. I remember calling it that once. I could have just made it up though. You'd never know.
What do you think the bubble of the Marsh Mage is called?
Bubble.
Water bubble parenthesis medium.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It's a bigger one later. They couldn't come up with more names. They were like, all right, we've dug enough.
Too difficult.
Yes.
They've been through the Thesaurus enough.
They should talk to Quinn. He could help them out.
Yeah, especially now he's free in this tournament.
Okay. Uncalled for. But true.
Just stating facts. I love Quinn, of course. Yatoro and Team Spirit. Can they push this to a game number 3? He's got the Deso with 8 charges. I believe the Daedalus. Actually, he's going for Lincoln's first, it looks like. So doesn't want to get roared. I mean, how much do they have to take off for Lincoln's? They have the static link.
Are scanning.
Link, Roar, X. That's it, right?
There's not too many single target spells. That's pretty good. Pretty good Lincoln's game. We talked about how that's not really an item these days. Laurel, gonna run 2 members of Tundra. Wheel of Wonders coming for them. Does hit, and that's the death of 1 already. Maposhka and Laurel taking out Whitemon in turn. Chrysalis is already really low HP. I'm not sure if Tundra can fight. Will-O-Wisp is used. And it looks like 33 kind of caught in a weird spot here. And Laurel going to continue on. Has the amplified damage from Chrysalis. He's here. They avoid him pretty well. The whip onto 33. He's just trying to run away, but he is walking very slowly. Remnants available for Laurel to get back into the fray. Chrysalis now back to full HP.
It's so crazy in this situation. Chrysalis TV's back to Fountain, gets recalled back, heals to 2/3. 33 has been healed by 50% of his health by just Illuminate spam, playing from the Fog Soxa on the Coddle.
And we're going to see the double meld strike now onto the Tormentor. So this is going to be a Tormy for Spirit. And the Shard will be Ruse. So we will see the Spotlight. No real illusion heroes.
The mischance is always something.
I mean, it's a solid Shard. No matter
And
what.
Vision, of course.
Oh, from the high ground, Tundra's coming. They want to find a pick-off. They find Miposhka. Ice Shards actually working to their disadvantage. Nice knife onto Crystallis. He gets steering chains as well. And that's actually going to break up the fight. So a little bit of a mistake there from Whitemon.
Yeah, I wonder why he did Snowball. If he is saving that for a key section of his anticipated follow-up fight, because when there's a Force Staff in play, those shards are never going to get you the kill against Miposhka. The Snowball, however, if that connects first, you force Silencer's hand. Either you Force Staff away, or you get caught by the stun and die on the spot. So then you have to force, but then Tusk still will connect with the follow-up shards. Either way, it will be good news for Miposhka to survive there. Global Silence coming off cooldown again now. If Spirit wants to make a move, everything is available in their kit. And there's that Lincoln Sphere, so cool to see. Radon will often be one of the more creative carries in terms of itemization. Not like this is innovative to buy this against Beastmaster Razor, but I feel like we've seen similar games where other carriers just wouldn't buy this.
Yep. They'd usually opt for the status resist over everything else.
Yeah. And this now, once BZM realizes this, I think there's a very clear path for Tundra to access fights. You want to X-mark the TA to break the Lincolns, and then you immediately go and roar her. And you can see 33 changed his mind away from the Force Staff I was talking about earlier. He is going for the dagger. So he bought the BKB for more fighting sustain, but he recognizes that the #1 way of winning this game is to roar the TA. So you just got to do whatever you can to get that done. I genuinely wouldn't even necessarily mind seeing him buying a Shadow Blade after the blink, just to full-on triple down on that one job. It's either that or Refresher. Perhaps the double roll.
Who's actually breaking the Lincolns?
Oh, it's got to be X-Mark, right? So, yeah, but
what about like an Atos or something on one of the supports?
I don't know if they're likely to be in position. That's the problem.
Drink up.
An ESL classic, the Drinking Kobold.
Manta style now online for Crystallis. As Soxa is spotted. Gonna take a full Wheel of Wonder and die. Nice pick off for Team Spirit. As Roche, we won't know for a few seconds, and then even then, it's requires Cinderin to decipher when that's actually going to spawn. As BZM is going to get steering chains. They have the damage. Blade Mail's already been activated. BZM finds his way to the other side of the tier 2.
Keep in mind for Roche, Spirit have no concerns because they have TA, so they will know.
That's true.
When it spawns, very special innate.
But we can't see it on the TA. We have to decipher the clock. Very
Looking
difficult.
at the clock right now, we're talking, it's a little bit more than a minute.
Okay.
So,
Dire's structures are fortified.
needs to connect with the glowing dot, the one that's pulsing there. Obviously, Valve could choose to put numbers on here, but it's more interesting to keep people guessing. Why make it obvious to the audience when they could be confused? That's Dota in a nutshell.
Having a digital clock in there would break everyone's immersion. But whoopee cushion is okay for Ringmaster, of course. Very normal stuff. Laurel, they have to go. Ooh, not in time. Threw up his arms, but there's a cast time there for the roar.
It is interesting to see the TA prioritize the Lincolns, but not Ember. Because that's oftentimes an item that Ember doesn't mind buying. But he is going for the Shiva's Guard.
Yep, changing his build a bit here. Now that his off lane did not go for Shiva's. Maybe you're right, maybe he did want to go Shiva's that game. A bit of a stalemate as we wait for Roche to spawn, which will be soon-ish. And Laurel would absolutely love to have that Shiva's done this time, but it's probably going to be a little bit too soon for that to come online. Another smoke from both sides. Actually run right into 33, gets steering chains. Will-O-Wisp already used as well, but the BKB for 33. The Wheel of Wonder completely misses. The roar onto Rue, but he's on the other side of the shard, so another awkward spot. Whitemon does get off the wall as much as Crystallis. He's going to focus everything onto Rue. Box is going to keep him alive a little bit longer, and now that the BKB is down, Crystallis onto the high ground. He goes in a full retreat mode. Laurel doesn't want anything to do with this. He gets in with the steering chains onto 2. Snowball feels like this is an inevitable second kill for Team Spirit, and indeed that is the case, and Roche should be theirs.
Just expertly kited from them there. You could see Radon was 33 was kind of pump faking his roar, but he can't roar the TA like he wants because he can't break the Lincolns. Kunkka was not in position to break it with the X, and then you already have Crystallis in the middle of that, popping everything he has, and he can't even kill the Ringmaster. He goes into the box, and then he had a whoopee cushion to jump over the wall. Once those BKBs run out, Tundra run out of steam. This is something to keep in mind about their lineup that might be different to other times they've played this, say, Kunkka Sand King or Kunkka Beastmaster. Razor is a different kind of carry in nature than something like Gyro, right? You're really dependent on sticking on your target.
EZM pops the BKB, Nightfall. Will be good to go. It feels like Tundra have lost a lot of momentum.
For sure. They, in an uncharacteristic fashion, would you agree? I feel like they have damage issues, actually. Like, Razor doesn't have any big damage item yet. He has the Mjolnir Manta BKB. It's extremely defensive in nature to buy these 2 survivability items.
Yeah.
If he were playing a hero like Gyro or a hero like TA, he would be pumping out massive damage in these fights while they're going on, but instead he kind of just gets kited. It's a bad sign when you have a full static link on the enemy position 4 and you can't even kill him.
Yeah.
You don't even want to link it to begin with, but you couldn't link the TA because of the link.
Yeah, it does feel like they're Spirit are doing a great job of kind of mini resetting during the fight, waiting for these BKBs to have basically no effect for Tundra. So they just don't have that damage. And once they're down, they can just run them down themselves. Tier 2 for Team Spirit, 3.5 on this Aegis.
What color do you think Radon's shots are?
I mean, red with a green trail.
Okay. Thought maybe you had a little bit more nuance with the color wheel, but it's fine. Very basic answer, as expected.
RGB.
There's not much blue in it.
That has blue in it, though. I don't know what's in his cup.
Looks pretty empty. Yeah, come on now. You can do it. Thirsty. Thirsty boy. Oh.
As Rue and company, they find Soxa in the trees. He's already used the Will-O-Wisp. Gonna be an easy pick-off. Some extra vision there, but on the other side, Laurel doesn't have any backup for this one. Not quite yet, at least. Gonna dance around 33, looking for the roar. They can't find it. Laurel's just all over the place. Gets the Searing Chains, an easy kill into Whitemine, and 33 will have to Nightfall away as well. So that is never a good sign, because Nightfall's not on your team, and he's the only one that can truly get away with that maneuver.
Spirit's mid-control is pretty impeccable here. Just not leaving any vulnerabilities. They're not giving Tundra any openings where they get one pick with the roar so they can snowball. The only options that are kind of being presented to Tundra is the Ember, who's hard to kill even if you do connect the roar, because, again, damage issues, and the Underlord, who is every defensive item in the game.
Yeah.
Well, not quite, but he's got all the cost-efficient ones.
And Roche's banner gonna essentially counteract this fortification, and Radon will be knocking on the front door of Tundra's base. Will-O-Wisp activated and swiftly taken out. Very short delay. The AC, the latest item for BZM, and they're going to have to try to fight this.
It goes for a cleave.
Really
all the creeps are immune, so that's not great.
That's the least amount of damage I've seen a cleave do for a Kunkka in quite a while. Range Rack's taken out. Radon standing his ground. Aegis for another minute and a half.
The Lincolns?
They did, but he gets to the other side. Another Will-O-Wisp used. Pretty damn low cooldown for that. Not having a big effect, though. Roche's banner eventually will be taken out. No. One sliver of HP. Illusions couldn't quite do the job. Now the melee rack's next on the list for Team Spirit.
They denied the banner.
And they're gonna reset. Still a minute on this Aegis. Didn't really force anything big out of the Tundra side.
Got a range racks and a tower. Not bad. Progression.
Dire are scanning.
Of course, this is the upper bracket, so loser will go to the lower bracket to face off against the winners of, actually, what match? Paravision versus Death Boom.
Collapse is about to finish a massive item here. The Aghanim Scepter on Underlord is coming up in 100 gold.
Love that item.
I'll allow him to, he'll have bigger Pits of Malice and will create one at the cast of the gate. So the global presence, you were talking about it with the global sounds with Ember and with the Underlord, it gets way better when you have this Axe, because you can kind of force a BKB cast.
Oh yeah.
By just pressing your gate.
I mean, it's literally a global route.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah, love this item.
There it is. Flying out just now.
And now, let's see if he goes for Gleipnir.
Yeah, he's eyeing up Hex for now.
Those Pits of Malices are insane when you get the AoE increase. As the Aegis has finally been consumed. Very even net worth-wise, but it just feels like Spirit are in the driver's seat right now.
It's mainly about the momentum shift, right? It felt like Tundra just had so much control, and it's one thing that we can see the net worth and the fact that it's kind of close overall. It's more so what's Tundra's mindset based on what they've experienced the last 15 minutes, because they're obviously making judgment calls on the fly here. And if you have 2 or 3 unsuccessful plays, you might feel like, all right, guys, we can't do it this way. We need to wait for X, Y, Z. But I don't know if it necessarily favors them to just keep delaying this game by Crystallis with another defensive item in the Satanic. So still doesn't quite pack a punch here. He will have more staying power. Of course, in the last fight, he was kind of forced out when the BKB expired. Has a better chance of surviving and standing his ground. Doesn't really start to kick off until he gets the refresher.
Yeah.
EZM has to run away here with his BKB. Looking like a Nullifier is going to be purchased, disassembling the Radiance. I'm guessing that.
Collapse. He's going to get roared. Actually, it was reflected. A nice Lotus, and that's really awkward for 33 as more reinforcements arrive for Team Spirit. 33 will just BKB TP, though. A lot of Nightfalls in this game, it seems. Still very defensive. I mean, that was a good attempt, but the Lotus pretty much just stopped that in its tracks.
Radon is about to hit 25, and he could take the meld hit bash. I do believe that pierces BKB, right? Just like every other bash, I'm assuming.
I believe so. As
they're going for an aggressive play with the gate.
Yeah, not able to find the connection, though. The Will-O-Wisp will be sacrificed for Tundra.
He's probably going to take Refraction instances, isn't he?
I don't think I've seen the meld bash this tournament.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has been taking the other one. But it would be kind of interesting considering the amount of BKB TP outs we've seen.
Yeah.
If it is indeed a piercing bash, if it is. Funhouse Mirror.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Gonna scout anything out with this? Just trying to get some sort of info. I'm not sure if he was actually patrolling with it to try to feel out a smoke, but none being popped right now for the side of Tundra.
A big power spike for Laurel. Aghanim Scepter about to be delivered.
Yep.
Has the damage rune as well.
He did take the meld back. All right. Cool.
Very cool. That'll be a little surprise factor. Watch it not work through BKB and then...
I mean, it's still useful, right?
Of course.
There's going to be situations where that makes a big difference. It makes it harder for, let's say, heroes like Caudle, right? If you blink and you hit them with a Meld Strike and they don't react in time on the first shot on the Ghost Scepter, you get the secondary hit off, and that could be the kill.
Right.
So
that was a lot of damage to that tier 3.
Yeah, they hit really hard.
No way to heal their buildings. Still waiting for some of those heroes to be. We've seen Winter Wyvern, but not with the correct facet. We haven't seen Treant Protector a whole lot, if at all.
And it is interesting to see this Underlord, right? We saw it.
Radiant's top tower.
We were questioning the laning stage of it. We were questioning how it was really going to fit together. But one thing we might have overlooked a little bit too much is just how this counterplays Caudle. Because it's like, you're always taking care of the trash lane and you're always able to connect. So the advantage that Caudle has had in a lot of games by bringing additional heroes to the play, you're kind of doing the same thing from a 4 roll, but then you're also buying auras that...
Poshka, is he going to pop Global Silence here? They use a decent amount on him. Plasma Field applied, but the Wheel of Wonder, there's a Global Silence just before he dies. Will they actually continue on here? Radon actually backs away, just focusing on the 33 for the time being. The Pit of Malice being such a nuisance.
Roar.
There's a Roar. A bit isolated is Radon. He gets torrented up into the air. Lotus as well, but he's able to get his lifesteal back. No, he's very low, gets boxed up for the time being, but eventually brought down by Tundra. They lose 33 in this engagement as Laura putting the Aghanim Scepter to good use, but his mana is starting to get a little bit low. He gets brought back into the arms of the Snowball, but the Lotus will reflect it. He gets his own Snowball to work with, and they're going to turn the round onto Whitemon rather, and onto Crystallis as well. Radon with a double kill comes back in the game via that buyback and turns into a triple kill. And some way, somehow, Spirit with that double buyback end up team wiping Tundra.
That one Lotus Orb might have just won them the entire game.
The Lotus has been really close.
4 kills.
Yeah.
Now sieging high ground.
Double buyback.
This is going to cost Tundra more than just the 2 if they don't want to lose 2 lanes of barracks minimum.
Yeah, they have 3 additional buybacks, like you said. Let's see how much they want to use. They're going to lose double lane at the very least because there's no towers to protect. Maybe they even go for the throne here. So there's another buyback, this time onto Whitemon. That is going to be a lane of racks in the mid. And Radon working on the bottom lane now. Will-O-Wisp from Soxa, again, just trying to delay so they don't have to use every buyback in the book, but they might have to, especially Chrysalis. They could maybe get away with 33. Wheel of Wonder plays, there's the double buyback. So everybody's bought back for Tundra now as Laurel and company try to retreat. Trying to go on top of Radon, but he's able to get off the Blink Dagger. Let's see if he wants to come back in. Focus right now onto Collapse, who has the double pit of Malice to work with. Whitemon is dead. Tidal Wave coming out, but the BKB from 33 is already at low HP. Gets healed up from the Illuminate. As Chrysalis left all alone. Might be able to take out Rue, but the box is acting in the B there. Collapse.
Is it bait?
Onto the high ground. It looks like it is. Radon gets the bash off. Hurricane Pike. Global range now, and down goes the carry for Tundra. 2 dead, 2 diebacks. And now Spirit can just work on the base.
This is a flat out 5v3. Collapse does have his buyback. He could buy back and sell his treads for travels, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to do potentially that. Buys back into the game for the Underlord. Miposhka getting gone on at the moment. The boat does connect into the Torrent. They really want to kill this side. So the box save again from Rue comes out. And that leaves 33 in a horrible spot. Surrounded for the time being, trying to put everything onto Rue, including the Nullifier. But it is not to be. Another dieback for Tundra as BZM trying to finish off Miposhka. He does so, but it's not going to matter because GGs get called. We're going to a game number 3.
That was a very, very cool game. True battle of concepts here. Spirit. It looked...
3 games in a row. Can we hear it for 33? Yeah, we love pauses in the house today. Upper bracket finals, of course. Winner this in the grand finals. That's how it works. Loser to the lower bracket. Cinderin.
Yes.
I'm out of breath. I screamed a bit, and now the American side of me needs to rest.
Yeah,
so
cardio
take over,
your
please.
strong suit. I know this. I've played pickleball against you. Just a couple of sideline shots, and the rally generally ends.
That's not true at all. Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, very true. Yeah, this is a total switch up. It's a lot of new heroes being brought into this series, especially the bounty hunter really stands out here, right? We've cast a lot of games of this tournament by now, and I think this is maybe is this our first Slardar? Maybe it's the second one? It's definitely our first bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So Spirit trying to be creative here to solve some more established picks coming out from Tundra. There's literally 0 surprising heroes picked by them here. The Bristleback mid has already been played as well, and against Storm it actually does quite well. We got to cast that exact matchup the other day. Both heroes farmed, but I believe the Bristle was able to inch out a bit of an advantage. So we'll see if BZM can replicate that outcome in the matchup. Carry Dusa though.
Yeah.
This hero in every position this tournament.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except mid, I guess.
This hero is having an identity crisis, no doubt about it. As Chrysalis and BZM will not be able to get this bounty,
2 for 2,
but still 2 for 2. So for Radon, Mr. Yatoro on that said Medusa. How hard can this hero carry these days? I feel like I've mostly been seeing it as non-carry.
Well, he's obviously, by nature of playing carry, he's playing Venomous Volley. So he will be able to itemize move speed. And for better or worse, of course, there's going to be some situations that's good and some that's bad. But it does allow you to more reliably be able to chase down targets. You're going to have the luxury of playing with Track and Corrosive Haze, so you have 2 avenues of getting vision that pierces Fog of War, so that as long as you have the attack range and you're in position and get to hit, you can generally stick on your targets, and you will be quite hard for the Radiant lineup to kill. They don't have strong single target damage. I want to say the best they have is probably the mid Bristle, who did go for Seeing Red. Wind Ranger position 4 generally doesn't really get the job done against a Medusa carry, and I would say it's one of Gyrocopter's worst carry-to-carry matchups because he's a spread damage carry, and Medusa just stands there and laughs at you. So that'll be interesting to see. Tinker, of course, a bit of a wild card in every series we've seen. Sometimes it just carries the game. I actually think that's Tundra's best pick against Medusa, is the laser with Ags. Even though you don't really reduce much health, just the constant blind from long range, Medusa is very static. Can become annoying for her. if Whitemon goes that direction. We'll see. He's eyeing up a Holy Locket first.
And let's talk a bit about Bounty Hunter. Talked about a little bit of the vision aspect to track. Of course, that's going to be a little down the road for that level 6 for Rube. The panel's talking about how the Bounty might want to gank mid a little bit earlier to help get an advantage.
It's a tough kill to pull off, though. Bounty does very insignificant amounts of damage on the very low levels compared to a lot of other ganking heroes. So if you want to kill the Bristle, the Storm already needs to butter him up quite a lot. You want to get that one. Not out of the question, of course. It could happen. But I think more likely than not, it is going to be a gate play instead if you want to find kills. Bounty Hunter kills very well together with Jakiro, because it allows you to stick on your target, get more swings in.
Yeah. A little bit surprising. Jakiro gets through the pool. It feels like this hero, the previous tournament that we cast, was picked or banned in every single game.
Icebreaker got nerfed since then, though, right?
Yeah. And we've been seeing the other facet a lot of the time, but it does feel like just personal preference, which one they want.
It varies a bit. We saw it yesterday being picked, the Icebreaker against Meepo.
What is that abomination?
Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it's an ice frog. Okay.
Well, okay, that's extremely insulting to a true legend of the game.
I wonder if he approved that himself.
Well,
Rue inside of the Lotus pool, and Tundra will be forced to have to put down a sentry.
this is why they pick Bounty.
Yeah, just for that.
That one moment.
Huge advantage now for Team Spirit. And we can talk a bit about Collapse's Slardar, another hero we're not seeing a whole lot of. But
done an excellent job in the first few waves here together with Rue. It's very good farm on Slardar here.
Yeah, 18 and 5 already.
Against Tinker Gyro, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. The 20 CS minute 3 is extraordinary.
BZM gonna get ganked from the side. Maposhka coming in with the dual breath. Laurel, a couple extra right clicks, not quite enough though. Now Maposhka put in a weird spot. BZM has to just stand there and wait it out. He gets both kills, does die before Laurel. Laurel ends up getting the XP.
No, he's just pulling the wave.
That was quite the turn of events. The one hero that you can look into a corner, just stand there and still be quite fearsome. Whitemon going to get gone on by Collapse for a bit. As Maposhka actually TP's down here, so that's a triple threat coming out from Team Spirit. Dual breath onto Crystallis all alone. Bash is there from Collapse. 2 kills for Spirit in this lane.
Yeah, and this
Pretty
is
damn good start.
This is one of the luxuries you have when Medusa has an easy lane matchup as a carry. It's so easy to just leave her. Like, what's Beastmaster gonna do here? She can just kill the boars if he tries to play aggressively. She has Gorgon's Grasp and the Snake. And even if it were to be, say, Windranger plus Beast, the kill takes so damn long that you could just TP in any hero to help whenever. This is a really feels good situation for Spirit supports, because they get to do whatever they want, basically. They pick their lane, pick their move.
Yeah,
Maposhka has returned to top, but no opponent in the lane.
Yeah, Soxa rotating to the bot lane to try to find a kill onto Collapse, but seemed to have a little bit extra information. Backed away safely. It's been a bit of a wasted rotation for now.
I suppose it is a little bit obvious for Spirit to figure this out, right? When Beastmaster isn't even laning, where else would Windranger be than making a move bot? Now Soxa is finally going to return to top, which makes sense because now the wave is pushing into tower. So Poshka fighting 33 in his own jungle. This is how you counter Beastmaster. You just hunt him down. Might have been a part of the Bounty Hunter logic as well when they picked it.
Yeah, that's true.
That you just have a hero that can trace Beastmaster and stop stacks from happening and just leech.
So you're saying game 3 is when they finally realized we should do something about 33?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good time to figure it out. I mean, they beat him last game. He was stupid fat, though.
Yeah,
but
he was. Don't insult him, especially in America.
Okay.
It's a sore spot for us. That's Crystallis and Whitemon.
I had a couple people love that one, Shannon. Good. Know your audience.
They're my people.
Time for Power Rune.
Yep, 6-minute rune is upon us. Amplified damage taken by Maposhka. BZM doing quite a bit of damage. They have the vision. They have the kill. Laurel, he has his ultimate, so we'll be fine. BZM, very, very tanky. That full HP bar. Soxa and Whitemon made their way over as well, it seems. Yeah, but BZM, in terms of net worth, top of the game, so having a very good start. Laurel did get the levels, but definitely down in the farm at the moment. Dual breath upon BZM, just harassing him.
Only 400 HP, does have to be a bit careful.
Overall, the biggest surprise in all of this for me is how little Crystallis has. I think that's the biggest surprise. He's level 4.5 against Collapse's level 6.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
The true dive pressure here, Crystallis actually can't just go and farm next to the Slardar because he's just going to pop all his stuff and run him down and force TP rotations. So he's very much at the mercy of Collapse letting him get CS under tower.
What? Oh my god, that bounce! Are you kidding? All right, well, Soxa taken off guard a bit there by that damage.
Not a kill I thought I would see.
Whitemon.
Yep, here we go.
Corrosive Haze upon him.
No. He got one TP out of them.
The break, pretty annoying. Yeah, BZM makes his way over. 33 in the meantime. Does get the Wisdom trying, but it's going to cost him his life.
That was real close on the homing missile. Collapse playing on the limits. He forced the TP down from Bristleback. He TPs out himself away from the missile. And it was a 1-for-1 trade, right, on the Wisdoms. Yes. So Rue got the other one with 33 getting the Radiant. Now, Bounty Hunter often falls into this trap where if you're moving too much, the track comes out very late. And Rue's level 3.5. So I'm curious to see what Spirit are going to do to try to get him his experience. Obviously, one way would be exactly this. Have Bounty Hunter stack and then get percentages off of that and just leech as Storm is taking it, or as Storm is taking it, you go and take the mid lane, whatever it is. But it's very important, I think, that Rue doesn't just accept this game state and get level 6 at something like minute 14. It's so valuable for him to get track in 3 or 4 minutes because he has really great heroes to exploit it with the Slardar as well as the Storm.
Yeah, BZM.
And they will indeed give him mid. So I really like this. I think this makes a ton of sense to do in this exact moment.
Yeah, it needs that level 6 pretty bad. BZM working on Ags, already halfway there. And Soxa with an Invis rune. He'll be scouting things out here. Really just leeching XP if nothing else. We'll get the range. Creep, that is.
And as much as we were talking about the Bounty Hunter against Beastmaster for scouting things out, it's similar logic against Tinker, right? This has to be what Spirit saw in this pick, this game. It's just the ability to not only block camps, but also just recognize when the big stacks are being farmed so that you have the chance of contesting it. Seeing it right here, being put into
spotted. Laurel
use.
Gets off the slow, gets off the stun. Rue is here for the assistance. No track yet, but Soxa surrounded by enemies. Spirit just taking over this area.
It's a flat-out masterclass on invading the triangle right there. That was more or less perfect. They got the right heroes in from the right angle. They brought the correct numbers. In the meantime, Tundra are stuck dealing with this pesky Slardar down bottom. It feels like they need to babysit Crystallis to even play the game. And with this stack now, oh, Collapse is actually going to try to steal some of this with a crush.
He might.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, he gets the haze down. This is a 2 versus 1. Make it a 3v1 as Soxa coming in from the other side. Focus fire applied. Gyrocopter ult as well. This will lead to a very valuable kill on Collapse.
All right, that's a flat-out mission fail right there. I think he got 0 off the CS. He got rooted by the creep and then he died.
It happens. Great. Happens to the best of us. It require 3 members of Tundra to take him out, of course.
Still well worth it. They have to get Gyro into the game, so this is kind of a gift in a way. You always want to tread that line very carefully of not over-aggressing when you're playing Slardar. Because this hero, when it has a good start, can really be extremely oppressive in the lane, but you can also very quickly over-dive a bit too much. Speaking of dive, there's
we're
a
going to see the
roar.
first roar from 33.
And he's going to run away.
Yeah, that's not good. No backup. Does live, though.
Yep.
Working on his Aghanim stuff now.
Sentry must have clipped Rue on the very edge.
Yeah.
On the left. Like, it could. I think he must have had his modeling by like 2 pixels. But that's enough.
Yep, another tower.
The tower still. Things going well here for Spirit in the early game. For the first time in the series.
Yeah, that is strange to say, isn't it?
In the lanes.
So what happens in this game then when they get off to the good lead?
Yep.
Do you think either team has been playing better than the other consistently this series, or has it been pretty much 50-50?
I think it's been pretty close, honestly. There's been moments of brilliance from both teams, and I think every individual player has had a good series for the most part. So that's what you want to see. This is a matchup we could see again tomorrow. Not out of the question, anyway.
Yep, for sure.
So Could just be a little bit of a warm-up for a bigger EO5 at the very end of it all.
Rotation from Spirit. They want to kill Crystallis.
They will.
And they will very, very easily. Down goes the gyrocopter. Whitemon not in position to help. Now Collapsing Company can try to turn this around onto a full tier 1 for themselves. Although BZM does make a rotation here, so...
This is one problem that Tundra have in this game in terms of playing against heroes like Storm and Slardar is their catch is extremely limited. When the mid hero you're playing is Bristleback and your offlaner is Beastmaster, who generally wants to farm for the first like 15-20 minutes, when these skirmishes break out, you're going to be playing defense almost exclusively. So it means Spirit gets to choose the avenues of attack. It means they get to choose which heroes are involved, where the... Yeah, just flat out what objectives you want to fight for is kind of their choosing. So they opted to invade the triangle the one time, now they opted to invade bottom and kill the gyro and look to put some pressure on the tower. Tundra's lineup is just, by nature, very greedy.
Yeah.
So they need to stay alive, they need to keep the game afloat and reach some sort of meaningful timing in the mid-game when everything comes together.
Collapse has Blink Dagger. See if they turn this into a smoke reveal. As Laurel going to be accompanied by Maposhka. They team up with Collapse. Although TP coming mid as Soxa showing himself with the focus fire on that mid tier 1. Laurel will bring him back. Well, Rue is level 6, so track online. Shuriken with the right clicks from Laurel is enough.
And again, it's just easy hit and run with Storm Bounty this game. There's no stuns except the roar. So Shackle Shot is not available in that region. You just kill him, and you got to be a little bit careful on Tundra. This isn't just you're bleeding out your usual, oh, whatever, our support died. Track kills really sting that little bit extra. Now soon 14 minutes approaching. Let's see if Spirit have any plans for Wisdom. Radon is heading in the overall direction, but he is alone, so I think
Crystallis. There's the Aghanim Scepter for BZM.
Yep.
And yeah, just based on positioning, it looks like it'll be a trade of the Wisdom.
Just going to walk over completely alone here. Okay. Now this is some next level stuff. He walks over pretending he's taking the shrine, forces TP reaction. He sees the Watcher is radiant, and he just leaves. He actually baited a TP and some extra rotation and a smoke out of Tundra. And he just immediately leaves. Goes bottom.
Yeah, and bottom side of the map is basically Spirits right now, so they're in pretty damn good position to take out that Tormentor in 30 seconds. Meanwhile, though, they can take out some Ancient stacks for you, Toro. Has the Manta style, will be going for the Butterfly second item, it seems.
Bit of a classic Medusa build. We've seen some players go Mjolnir into Aghanims to take advantage of the what used to be 25 talent with split shot effects. It's now tied to the Scepter. Not going to be the approach this time around.
Rue was on top of a sentry, so that means a homing missile is coming for him. BZM does not have Dust, though. Does have Aghanim Scepter, which does quite a bit of damage. But this might be a bait. Team Spirit, they get the track, they get the Corrosive Haze, and now it's a fight for the Tormentor. This Tundra definitely want to fight this out. 33 shows up with his Aghanim Scepter as well.
This becomes a rather delicate position. Oh, hang on.
Doxa is going to get initiated upon 33. Puts his arms up in the air, but
like he just
not willing to
care.
commit. I should have said that. Sorry about that.
One of us is funny. It's fine. More than enough.
They're actually going to go for the Tormentor. They're going to take a lot of damage in their pursuit. Radon is going to show up. They do get it. Whitemon gets his shard. They're going to try to fight this out now in the cover of all this healing regen. BZM will get the slows on top of Radon. Pretty low on mana, gets the wand off though. BZM is going to get brought back into the fray. The Macro Pyre's blocking their path now. 33 will have to run away, at least for now. Still has the Primal Roar, so they haven't really expended these big ults quite yet. And Team Spirit looks like they'll have to back away, so Tundra just, they take the Tormentor right under their noses.
You know, your favorite word of this tournament has been disgusting.
I mean, that's my career.
You know what's disgusting?
Huh.
Bristleback with Defense Matrix. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
that is actually just filthy.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Rance.
They tried their best. They couldn't even hit him.
Ice Path on the Whitemon. TP from Soxa. Oh, okay, gets the shackle somehow onto Laurel. Able to zip away though. They should have the right click damage, but Crystal is actually TP's in. Now the full Rocket Barrage being applied to Miposhka will lead to his ultimate demise. So Tinker somehow lives.
Warp Flare, baby.
I shouldn't say somehow. Yeah, it's just Tinker things.
Yeah, if he hadn't got the shard, he would have been dead there. But the Warp Flare creating the distance to Storm, and he stays alive. And Tundra on quite the heater here. They were 4K down just a minute ago. Now going to grab themselves a 5K pretty much out of nowhere almost. Mid towers there for the taking, and that is that critical mass timing for mid-game Bristleback with Aghanims.
Oh yeah.
Keep trying to build upon it. As we've already established, their catch is pitiful, but if they can just run as a ball and force objectives, Spirit are unable to fight into them, then they can claim both the Tormentor and the Roshan, which is exactly what's happening. As Aegis will be going over to BZM.
So Aegis online for Tundra. You know, something we haven't asked the crowd as of yet. Which team are you guys rooting for? Let's start with who's here for Tundra? All right. And what about Team Spirit? Oh, wow.
Who loves barbecue?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well,
who doesn't love barbecue? Can't trust a person that doesn't like that. That's for sure. As Tundra grouping up in the top lane.
The fans are hoping for a grand finals tomorrow of barbecue against Tundra. That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, that's a safe bet.
Yep. True BO5.
Tier 1, I mean, Yatoro can go real ham if he wants for Team Spirit.
If they like barbecue, then maybe they would like legendary coach KBBQ, Jack Chen.
Yeah, the legendary man himself.
Yes.
Was so good, I did content with him, and they cut out every line that he had, so. Very sad state of affair. Aegis on BZM. How much does Tundra want to get out of this Aegis? What is their expectation?
Top tower minimum, I would say. Top and bot tier 1. So top tier 2, bottom tier 1. I don't know how much more they can realistically guarantee to get. But I do think Spirit are unlikely to want to defend top tier 2 and bot tier 1. Mid tier 2, they would definitely be able to mount a much better defense set with the angles and the Storm Spirit. And the top region will be hard. But we'll see. Perhaps Spirit will try to really buckle down and defend everything they have. Obviously, Medusa is a great frontline hero to just stand at the towers with the incoming butterfly here. But that evasion does not work against Bristleback Ags. And it does not work against Tinker. March of the Machines, of course. So if you are standing still in the line of fire, you will still take quite a lot of damage despite having the evasion. It's arriving now. Let's see.
Pretty good timing.
They will be pushing the mid-tier 1, trying to make Tundra move
Soxa is going to show.
He will
get the crush, and they get the track kill. A little hit and run. They get the tier 1 as well, as now a Blink Dagger comes for 33. So he can start fights himself if he chooses to do so. Yeah, Whitemon, I feel like, I mean, we've seen this before with the Tinker. When he gets a little bit online, he starts to go a bit crazy. Is this one of those games for him? He's going for the Greaves, it looks like, so switching it up slightly from the last time we cast him.
Yeah, I was debating whether this was going to be an offensive or defensive Tinker game. I think the defensive route is probably better when you're playing against Storm's Hardar. Effie was talking about this on the panel, how you're quite vulnerable to just getting jumped and burst down. And if you are playing the laser-focused build, a lot of the time you might not be able to utilize it. If you have a lot of defensive items like Greaves to remove the corrosive haze from yourself and to give people armor as you're dropping low, and all the healing might be the better approach here. It also feeds well into the mid-game overall.
My God, he really packs a punch.
Yeah,
but the TP out in time from Miposhka. 33, he's tracked. Laurel teaming up with Rue. They have the damage. Goodness gracious. Laurel takes out the siege creep as well. BZM shows up with a defense matrix. This means he's untouchable, but Soxa is not untouchable.
You gotta be really careful. I feel like a couple of these deaths for Tundra are avoidable. When the Beastmaster has already died up here, I don't think Windranger should just walk up and instantly de-ward. You know the Storm is still there, you know the Slardar is still there. At the very least for Soxa, it wasn't a track kill, that one I believe, but you know, the overall jumping burst prowess of Spirit is nothing to scoff at. And honestly, the biggest part about all of this is that Tundra are accomplishing nothing with their Aegis. They haven't even touched a tower for 4 minutes. So Spirit are playing aggressively out on the map, effectively denying Tundra any pressure. Trying to corner them as much as possible. The grand reward here, of course, Radon, you're looking at the net worth here. He is a
33
ahead of Gyro.
They find him. Zip
Again,
on top. Oh boy,
responds.
that is a big kill. Very, very big kill. 40 seconds of no Beastmaster. Tundra, they still want to fight? They're playing very aggressive right now. They force Spirit out.
All right, so what does your gut say? We're 22 minutes in. How much CS do you think Medusa has?
CS?
Yeah. In 22 minutes, based on how the game has gone, how many creeps do you think?
208.
All right, 314.
Okay.
It was a good guess. 208 would not have been bad numbers necessarily if you're under pressure a little bit at least, but yeah, he's got 15 CS per minute, so.
That's Yatoro.
That's quite good.
5K advantage just on him.
Yes. That is the game. He is the lead.
Yeah.
The rest of the game is even. But he has, that's the beauty of playing this Bounty Hunter plus Storm is you constrict the enemy team so much that you can execute a true hyper carry because you take all of the attention away from Radon. I think he has not been attacked by a hero.
That is
laning stage.
That is actually quite possibly correct. Which is crazy.
I don't remember him being hit.
Yeah.
So.
He does have evasion after all.
Yeah, why did he buy a butterfly? It's not going to hit anyone.
That's true. What a waste of money. What a noob.
Just rush Rapier and end it.
And Maposhka going to break this smoke potentially. Radon, they spot him. They get off the roar. Do they actually want to go for him? Okay, 33 dies instead. That is not how you start a fight if you are Tundra. And BZM looks to be next on the list. This is too easy for Spirit. Soxa onto the high ground he goes. Whitemon gets a nice little root there.
Oh, the
Collapse
crush.
comes in with a crush on top of Soxa. That is 4 dead already. Spirit do have some low members on their team, but they're able to exit freely. They start out on Yatoro, and then 33 just instantly dies.
I think this is the absolute worst possible way a fight can start for Tundra, is to roar Medusa and not have vision. Like, they don't. I don't even think they have the damage to begin with to kill Radon like a 1-on-4.
They do not.
If you're opening the fight like that, you're effectively just giving Spirit a fight they couldn't have found themselves. And it's just way too easy for them to pile on to the other heroes. We saw there the burst, the Beastmaster. We've seen 33 and multiple other Beastmasters this tournament pop off. He's 0-5-0. When is the last time you've seen a Beastmaster be that?
Yeah.
Just nothing being carried out at all by the Tundra heroes.
They actually dealt with 33 for once.
Yep.
And the game is totally different. And imagine how much this net worth discrepancy would be if Tinker wasn't on the other side. Like, that hero as a support just gets ungodly farm versus the other supports. So it's always going to be that advantage.
So you could, if you take that out, this is almost a 15K lead.
Rue. It's going to get dusted. They have the call down as well. It is just a lowly bounty hunter, but Tundra will take it.
It's something.
We won't know about Roche for another 30 seconds.
Radon, by the way, finished Silver Edge. So now they have a crystal clear path to killing BZM's Bristleback. As he is not going for BKB, he's going for Lotus. So they managed to just stun him up and break him. They have insane burst for Bristle. Yeah. Minus armor from Corrosive Haze, a hard-hitting Medusa, Storm Spirit, Ball Lightning. Even all of Jakiro's spells start hitting really hard onto Bristle when he's broken. So.
And they finally got the BKB for Laurel. He delayed it a bit, but these two items combined, pretty big power spike for Spirit. And for Collapse, he actually went for Yules. I didn't notice that.
So you can see from Tundra's perspective now, Whitemon's going to finish his Greaves, and then he's starting working on Blink. Aether Lens is what he has in his quick buy, so I guess he wants to go for the Ags after, but that's a very late game oriented approach now. I guess you have no other choice though, right? The mid-game power spike that Tundra have won a lot of their games during is already lost. So I guess starting to plan for minute 50 might be the right line of thinking. Got to get there without bleeding out too much though. BZM. If they find him here. Let's put him to a test.
Let's see how long he can survive. They don't have too much vision in the area. They spot it. Yeah, the zip. Soxa, you going to cancel that TP? Well, it's going to be canceled for you with a crush. BZM, he's dead. Okay. That didn't last too long.
Yeah.
are scanned.
So 2 kills swiftly for Team Spirit as they are suffocating the map now. And that looked like a curse word coming out of BZM's mouth. Very dirty, probably, knowing him.
I'm good at lip reading. I think he said bush.
That is a bad word, Cinderent Rue. We'll apply some pressure to Whitemon, and that's going to open things up for Laurel to just get on top of him. They have the track. And it gets off the warp flare, though, Laurel.
Relatively tanky.
Yeah, pretty annoying to deal with as Chrysalis comes in with his call down, but Whitemon
There's the limit.
falls regardless. 12K lead for Spirit.
Another track kill.
Yeah, this is when things get really snowbally with the extra money you're going to be making with this bounty hunter.
And the gold is one thing. The other thing is map control. Playing from behind against stealth supports is extremely difficult. This is also a big part of why these heroes a lot of the time have very high win rates in public games, is that once you are taking the lead, at lower skill, it's hard for people to detect them necessarily. And on a higher skill, the deep warding and the overall map control you obtain from just a constant lack of certainty.
Dire's bottom tower is under
That's something
attack.
Tundra are going to have to contend with the rest of the game, is
Has fallen.
just trying to guess where wards are.
Ooh, all right.
Well,
was
Storm has more than one blink.
Yes, he does. Collapse will be there as
See you
well.
later.
Goodbye, 33. 50 seconds on the deck.
Godlike on Laurel. 10, 1, and 7. He had a rough game 1, but his Ember in game 2 and his Storm in game 3 delivering when it matters the most.
Yeah, Yotaro can just go into the pit. They can take this probably for free. I don't know how you contest this without your Beastmaster. So Aegis will go the way of Team Spirit if all things, yeah, nobody's even remotely close. Little extra movement speed now for Rue.
Looks like
Getting those
Collapse.
boots of bearing.
Oh, Collapse has a nullifier too. Like, what do you do?
Oh, yeah.
This is quite ridiculous. He can blink in, crush, and nullify someone so they can't get saved by Tinker, and then he even has a Yules for defense or offense, whatever is more important in the moment. Effectively also giving him 2 offensive dispels if you want to look at it that way. Very, very difficult to see a path here for Tundra.
As Collapse.
The Yules.
Yeah, we'll set things up as Soxa. Another track kill goes to Spirit. And Yotaro has a diffusal blade, by the way, so we'll be going for the disperser.
Yeah.
It's a little extra movement speed and dispel for himself.
Of course, the nullifier as well just makes Windrunner's life miserable.
That's true.
Double dip.
Scanning.
Just kills her off solo with no issues.
I assume it works against, I mean, it's the same thing against Defense Matrix, I guess. So they have
Yeah.
more ways with the nullifier on top.
Yep. I think he primarily buys it for the Matrix, and then it's just the icing on the cake that it also ruins Windranger.
And Radon with that Aegis.
Arcane Rune,
Laurel,
Whitemon.
they find Whitemon in the trees. Another track kill.
I think this game is really inspiring for certain people to watch. It's like, when I play my games, Bristleback and Tinker seem invincible. And then in this game, they're dying in 2 seconds. This is a kill combo you guys can implement at home. The Slaughter plus Storm.
Rue,
It hurts.
stun,
And he's broken.
Break.
And he's dead.
dead. Mid lane, though, Soxa. He's going to be caught off guard a bit. Gets actually the pretty high HP as Crystallis finds 1 kill, but Laurel gets Soxa in return, so 1 for 1 in this mid. Crystallis has to be careful. Radon's making his way over. Doesn't mind dying once. And they will certainly poke, I would assume, at this high ground here pretty shortly. Aegis, plenty of time left. No rush, really.
Radon, 500 CS on the horizon at 30 minutes.
25K net worth. That is insane. This is like Alchemist numbers. Jeez.
And it's kind of fun to see a hero that has been played a lot in the offlane this tournament just return to its roots.
Whitemon, goodbye, good sir.
Another track kill.
Gorgon's Grasp sets it up. 18K, it just keeps growing. 2.5 minutes on Aegis. They've already gained 5K just from the time that they've had that. So, my only question, Cinderent, when things get to this state, when does Gyrocopter... Oh, I was going to say when he buys Rapier, but he's
That's
just going to die.
question,
When does Gyrocopter?
He's got a minute to think about it
33, he's going to
himself.
use the Roar.
on top of the Slardar. Miposhka's coming in from the sideline, though. Okay, they do get the kill thanks to Soxa and the power shot. Laurel, though, will get some revenge. And the Gorgon's Grasp keeps Soxa in place. And he's going to get bursted down by Laurel. Track just in time. And now on the doorstep is Team Spirit. They will take these buildings.
And to answer your question about when do you buy Rapier, I think next game.
Yeah. In game number one,
likely.
You will pick that up in the lower bracket
God,
and phase BZM. Very careful, young man. That's that blade mail broken again. But these buildings are just dead. For Don, this is life number one, mind you, so this death doesn't matter too much. This will be a full set of racks in favor of Team Spirit, and they're actually going to jump the gun. Soxa tracked up. Gorgon's Grasp as well. Mystic Snake. He's going to get some help from Whitemon. Might be able to get back to base as a result, so nice defensive measures coming out from Tundra, but again, they've lost a full set at this point. Look at the damage just from one hero, Yatoro.
But that's a good shackle.
Yeah, he gets a nice shackle onto 2. Using that Gale Force to a high degree. Miposhka does get cleaned up. So that's 1 kill going the way of Tundra, but Radon, he packs a punch to say the least. Warp Flare again, gonna root the Bounty Hunter onto the high ground route. Looks like he'll be able to escape though. Laurel resetting, they want to go back in potentially. Kentaro ready to jump the gun again.
His mana is pretty bad though, so probably wise to just back off here. He's also very close to level 25, which will help. Arguably one of the less interesting level 25 talents in the game, the plus 40 int, but of course, mana is a lot of HP on this hero.
Very late game BKB for Collapse. It just does not feel like Tundra have the damage as of yet to deal with anything Spirit's throwing their way. Can maybe get 1 kill, it feels like.
I want to let you know, I apologize if my analysis is a little bit lackluster. I'm really distracted by the smell of hot dogs right now.
Yeah, we're really hungry here.
It smells very delicious.
How do the hot dogs taste? Oh, not too great, apparently.
A couple of people had them. Maybe they bought them and they're just leaving them to sit so they just smell everywhere.
Yeah.
That's it.
We have a fan blowing in our face.
Extremely rude behavior.
Team Spirit with the smoke on the doorsteps of Tundra's base. Soxa, is he going to show himself? I mean, the initiation possibilities from the side of Spirit are pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You get the vision aspect, you have obviously the blink from Slardar, but when Storm is off to this good of a start, he can just zip in and out. Really doesn't have to worry about mana in that short burst.
Did you have to say in and out?
Oh, that's true, man. Ooh.
Already smelling.
I don't think they have in and out here, though.
Oh,
fortunately for you.
Okay.
We can check, though. We can check.
So 25 unlocked for Adon on the Radiant side, the biggest talent to write home about. Their highest level hero is level 20, which is the Gyro as well as Bristle.
Yikes.
So there's the gap is insane in experience between the respective cores. Now, the 20 talent on Gyro is massive though, so it's good for them that they have that one. That's the +3 flat cannon attacks. He is at the very least unlocked. But as we've already established, Gyro does not hold a candle to Medusa in this game, so he has to be able to kill other heroes. And the way you would be able to set that up, a lot of it has to come from some sort of clean engage with Beastmaster plus Bristle, probably bursting someone. And then you slowly develop the fight.
Oh, they're scanning Spirit here. They know they're up here. Tundra gonna hairball off. They will be able to take their own Wisdom Shrine.
Okay, something. Laurel will take the other one, working on his 25. 24.5 in a moment.
Yeah, it's likely just a wait for Team Spirit on the next Roche.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess the question is, can Tundra even contest, you think? Do they have the type of team that can deal with Spirit having this massive advantage in that confined area?
I mean, I would say not really, but the other question is, do you have a choice?
Yeah, might not. As Soxa deleted off the map. BZM already at half HP as Laurel apparently picks off Whitemon on the other side. It just feels like anytime they leave their base, they're just getting picked off one by one.
This map is locked down by Spirit. Nowhere is safe. And as I was talking about earlier, Tundra, the problem here isn't just getting out on the map, it's that you have literally no certainty about where wards are. It could be anywhere. There could be wards inside your base. There'll be wards right outside the doorstep of the base. Even if you pushed waves out, you have no guarantee whether you're being spotted or not.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
A nice luxury Aghanim Scepter for Miposhka. Be good for this push, as Laurel's actually the one that is hitting the high ground.
He's got his 25 now and Parasma, so he has the overload attack bounce plus massive DPS increase from the
There's the
Parasma.
fortification.
32 galvanized stacks, by the way. Not too shabby.
Okay, well,
Oh,
BZM was there, but no longer. 33 gets off the roar, but he gets used up into the air. They've already lost 2 members. 33 will be the 3rd. Crystalis and Whitemon to defend. There is a buyback for 33, but he's already expended roar. These buildings will melt very fast, as there's the buyback from 33, but they've already lost Whitemon. Crystalis dies from a long-range attack. He does have buyback, but again, what will that do? They will have to use it, though. 3 versus 5, Team Spirit. Well, they're going to get Gale Forced and Shackled together. Radon doesn't really care. It's like, all right, clicky from anywhere, my friend. Mystic Snake comes out. And Radon and company will be able to get Megas very shortly. Big zip from Laurel. They end up breaking Mr. Soxa in the base. They're just hiding in their fountain. 30 seconds from BZM to come back. That is going to be Megas, as Team Spirit, honestly, if they want to continue, they can, as Soxa gets deleted off the face of the map by Collapse. And now the buildings start to melt. Tier 4's only thing remaining. As GG's eventually come out, Team Spirit will be going to the grand finals here at ESL One Raleigh.